Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, but you may or may not notice I'm a little bit differently attired. This actually showed up yesterday, but I was actually asked to wear this on camera, and so, for those of you who have ever heard of Final Fantasy VII, it's a little big for me, but I always get shirts that are too big for me. So yeah, in case you can't read that, that says Data Center 1. Yeah, that's it, Rex. I release you. I just wanted to show this off. I know you'd rather not watch me play. I don't know I'm on fire yet. That's an interesting question. The fact that that's not a linear answer is also kind of interesting. Okay, but before we really get going, let me pull up my walkthrough here. So, okay, today we're going to finish up Adeline. I have no idea how long it's going to take. I'm guessing like an hour. But then... yeah, some people have started becoming aware of the fake debt thing recently, too, so that's cool. Okay, so, great shirt, great thing, but see these totals? These are not up to date. The whole reason I'm late today, and stayed up until 2 last night, is I was doing my due diligence on not only perusing Blade Javal's excellent write-up, thank you, Blade Javal, but also checking a few other things, watching a few YouTube videos, and basically doing my due diligence to do the best job I possibly could to review the classes. That's really hard to do when I'm not playing them, but I've been doing this for a long time. I am reasonably confident in my review of the classes. So let me first give you the updated totals. If the script ever... there we go, which is this. I said, come on, script, go through. Took a second. Let me start with the negatives, because it's actually easier to discuss the negatives of class design, for there are fewer of them, but they're also kind of more egregious. Give me a second to actually find where I wrote all this stuff down. There we go. So first and foremost, Thief. So if you'll forgive me an indulgence, because I kind of have some thoughts on several of these. Oh my god, Dr. Winter. Rogues always have issues in MMOs. In any MMO, actually. I could use a lot of examples of this. I will use the big 3 as a key example of this, okay? In Guild Wars 2, rogues are all about builder spender. They're basically the same thing that most settings think of when they think of a warrior. You build up rage, or it's like tricks or something like that, and then you spend tricks in order to be able to actually do stuff. That's the entire class focus. They also tend to work really, really well with guns, which means they tend to have really good abilities that dovetail nicely with their guns. So kind of more of a buccaneer slash gunslinger kind of a class more than anything, because... well, they're trying to be a rogue. I'll get more to this in a second. Let's look at WoW. Now, rogues, infamously, are actually the worst class in WoW, which naturally still means there are like 5 positives, but if anybody who knows class design in WoW knows that 5 positives is really low, because WoW class design has had 24 years, or whatever it is, to design some incredibly good class design. So yeah, rogues are way behind. The reason why is the exact same reason I'm kind of getting into. So instead, over in WoW right now, you have a pirate, let me say that more correctly. You've got a shadow mage, you've got a shadow edge, so like someone who fights and buffs themselves with shadow damage in order to do unique extra things. Basically, the equivalent of a rune fencer here in FF11. Or you have a person who's all about dots, and that's it. Your dots are us. In FF14, you're a ninja. Now, I've actually talked about ninjas several times, but in FF14, ninjas are... well, they're ninjas, they're not rogues. And of course, a lot of that is focused on the Mudra system. So, yeah, you get my overall problem here. Now, why does this problem exist? This is actually really easy to explain. It's because most MMOs are combat-focused for obvious reasons. Rogues, by design, are utility-focused. Yes, a rogue can do decent damage, but at the end of the day, A rogue is there to talk or sneak or lockpick or whatever, right? We've actually talked about this recently. Rogues, to use WoW as an example, rogues were the best in terms of their overall design, all the way back in vanilla, where they had all kinds of kit and abilities that the game was designed around, right? So sneaking or lockpicking or pickpocketing were actually useful skills, because pickpocket would actually be able to give you quest items, for example, so you wouldn't have to kill as many mobs, or you could lockpick through a door that allows you to skip like a whole chunk of a dungeon, stuff like that, right? All of that's fallen to the wayside because, again, utility just isn't as important as someone who can hit things harder in an MMO. Which brings me to FF11. I actually did a double check here, not just Blade Travels. I guess I did that for all of these, but what I found consistent with it was that Thief in FF11 exists for Treasure Hunter, which increases the drop rate of things. And that's it. Like, that's it. The other stuff they bring to the table is so far behind the curve that it's not worth it. Now, because drop rates are what they are in FF11, Treasure Hunter is still useful. But when you have an entire class whose basic job is make drops less suck, you have a problem, right? And it's the same overall issue, because you want something that's utility, and in FF11 that utility is drops. And nothing else, really. Yeah, exactly. It's a grind tax. That is exactly what it is. You grind to grind less. This is actually a really common design thing in many MMOs. So, Thief, negative. Okay, cool. Let's scooch ahead to Ranger. Oh my god. So, some of you are aware of this. When we were first setting up for this run, there was a fairly lengthy and extensive discussion about what class I would play. Classes, technically, main and sub. And several of them jumped out at me from back then. Ranger was actually one of them, because everyone was telling me, don't play Ranger, don't play Ranger. And I'm like, well, why? Yeah, so Ranger is a Silver Era ranged class. Let me try to explain that a little bit. In the Bronze Era, plenty of things were ranged. In fact, actually, I think pound for pound, most classes were ranged in the Bronze Era. That's true in all three of them, by the way. Because that's just the nature of how the games are designed. And in the Golden Era, WoW and onwards, ranged is just whatever. What's the distinction between a machinist and a monk in FF14? One of them doesn't have to worry about their positioning. That's it, right? But in the Silver Era, there's a lot more jank, because the engines and the gameplay core, the core gameplay conceits were more advanced than basic, but not advanced enough to be good. Yeah, exactly, Rex. Like, Silver Era, we've talked about this before. I would be more willing to review Asheron's Call than Lotro. And the reason why is because Silver Era just has this whole layer of jank to it because they just weren't there yet, right? Whereas by contrast, the Bronze Era was simple enough that you just did it. It was fine. There's no issues. Enter Ranger. So you've seen me auto-attack. In fact, auto-attacking is a huge aspect of this game. Oh, but that's another thing that Thief kind of sucks at, but I'll get more to that in a minute. But Ranger doesn't have an auto-attack, because auto-attack ranged doesn't exist. So you've got your bow, and you have to use an ability every single attack. Now, that by itself sucks. Let's just start with that. That is nonsense. And in a game like this, which is already janky and weird to control, I can't imagine doing that without add-ons. Like right now, I could essentially turn that into a hotkey. I could just tap 1, for example. If I'm playing this game by default vanilla, which is what we're reviewing, as a reminder, I don't get that particular option. I want you to imagine every single time I do an attack, every time I do this, use. Wait on the timer, use. Wait on the timer, use. Every single time. I'm actually being facetious because you have to also enter this. You can make a macro for that, that's true, but default FF11 macros are not good, is the way I would describe that. But regardless, yeah, there's no... It sucks. So, okay, that's already irritating, but let's move past that. So obviously you use ammo. Now, ammo is one of those interesting things. I could go down a rabbit hole of discussing ammunition, but I have completely maxed out inventory space, which means I have, right now, 45 inventory slots. I would probably have those completely crammed with ammunition right now. And I know that because I've played WoW when hunters needed to have ammo, and would do exactly that. And just have every single bag completely filled with ammo. Every time you do anything, like you do a dungeon, or you do a raid, or you're going to do PvP, you have an entire inventory filled with ammo. Because you need it. You're going to go through it. I can't even imagine how that is in FF11. But that's actually a little bit worse than that. Because near as I can tell, there was only a couple of unique ammos. It was basically just ammunition. So there's no real gameplay there, it's just an inventory tax. And also you need to make sure you have the right ammo for the weapon you have, of course. Because there's different types of ammo. Because screw you. So that all sucks. But, then there's the fact that because of how FF11 works, your skills, so all of those attacks you're doing, your abilities and your basic attack are all weapon skills, which means they have a cast bar, which means you can't move. You're a turret. Now, this works in the case of, say, Black Mage, or technically Blue Mage as well, and a couple others, because Black Mage is doing kaplong, kaplong, kaplong. As I will describe later, a Black Mage is essentially artillery. But as an archer, you don't have that kind of output or that kind of AoE or the kind of survivability you need. So it doesn't do quite as useful damage as the Black Mage. It doesn't do as much AoE damage as the Black Mage. It doesn't do anything useful outside of its main attacks. It is frustrating to use and clogs your inventory, and you're stuck in one spot. And you have barely any survivability to solo, unless you happen to already have your people on it. It can do decent damage, but that's the only thing making it up. So Ranger, in my opinion, is the worst class in the game. Then we have Summoner. I could summarize all the problems with Summoner with one sentence. Pet class. Silver era MMO pet class. Like, you think I've been frustrated with my freaking trusts? Oh my god. Now, there's other issues here. It doesn't feel quite as interesting. You have to collect the summons, which is a whole other bag. I don't mind having to collect summons, but they just don't feel useful enough to make it worthwhile. If you're going to have a class that relies on this kind of jank, and actually going out and earning your spells and stuff like that, you need to make it worthwhile, like a Blue Mage is, for example. Speaking of, negative for Blue Mage. Now, I know that sounds strange. Don't kill me, Valerian. Okay, you can kill me, Valerian. I'll allow it. But hear me out. It's actually very specifically for getting the spells. You need to find something that has the correct spell, so Walkthroughitis, which, in the interest of fairness, almost every FF gets a Walkthroughitis negative for Blue Magic. Almost every single one. I'm not even sure there is one that doesn't. I'd have to think about that. But, like, 5 would get that, 6 would get that, 7 would get that. You could get it. Because you don't know. You don't know. So that's the first problem. Walkthroughitis negative. Second problem is enemies need TP in order to be able to cast. If they don't have TP, they don't. Enemies gain TP by getting attacked by you. Do you see the problem here? Now, if you lined all of this up in advance and planned for this, you're fine. If you're trying to get caught up and not planning this up, sucks to be you, especially if you missed a spell that you really want for whatever reason. Third problem, and this is, in my opinion, honestly the worst of these three. It's a chance. If they use their spell on you, you have a chance to learn it. For all the issues that most of the FFs have when it comes to learning Blue Magic, very few of them have it be a freaking dice roll to determine if you learn the spell or not. It's just, you learn the spell. Whatever the other... No, it wasn't that way in FF5. You're absolutely correct. In FF5, very specifically, I actually looked this up recently, so it's fresh in my mind. A person with the learning ability has to be targeted by the spell you can learn. That person has to be alive at the end of combat, and you have to win the combat. That's it. If those 3 qualifiers are met, the party learns the spell. So now you just have that spell for all your blue mages henceforth. There's a reason why, and you'll see me do this when I play FF5, I tend to run with multiple party members who all have learning equipped, because it's a bit of a tax, but it's a tax that is incredibly worthwhile, because blue magic is so useful in FF5. Anyways, so that sucks. We'll get back to blue mage in a second. Let's talk about ninja for a moment. Ninja is kind of like a red mage if red mages sucked. They're not particularly good at anything, and the only thing they really seem to be useful for, near as I can tell, is feeding TP into the enemies, which is usually not something you want to do. They also cast from their inventory. You know, skeins or bombs or whatever. Remember what we just mentioned about inventory space and the problems thereof? And yeah, that's the other thing. So ninjas, you've actually talked to me about this before, Blade Chaval. I was surprised to see how badly they perform now. Because back in the day, ninjas could evasion tank. And I actually love the idea of different types of tanks. World of Warcraft says hello. You know, the idea of it, like, there's an absorb tank, there's a heal tank, there's a I just straight up don't take damage tank, you know, stuff like that. So the idea of an evasion tank actually appeals to me. But apparently not only did they nerf that in general, but they also started introducing more and more and more enemies who do magic damage, most notably bosses and nemesis monsters, whatever they're called. Notorious monsters, excuse me. Which means magic kind of bypasses the evasion, which means that kind of falls by the wayside. So ninjas suck. Okay, cool. Puppet Master. At class in a Silver Age MMO. But also, and I had to do some extra digging because there was not a lot of information on Puppet Master, the secondary grind, like the whole other extra bit of grind in order to get your puppet up to code, means that you're grinding a second time. It's kind of like going to earn your summons for a summoner, but somehow more boring. I also wanted to give a general negative to grind for basically every caster in the game. The reason why is that getting spells in this game kinda sucks. And, at a certain point, mandates having a walkthrough. What in the world? Hang on one second. Oh. Okay. Street sweeper. Yeah, spells are expensive. You can find some. We've seen this. I have had spells drop. Hope you have a walkthrough for finding those. Okay, that's enough negativity. Let's talk positivity. Now, Warrior is obviously a class I could talk about extensively. Whoop, wrong button. Since, you know, I've been playing Warrior for the last 2+ weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. I'm still happy with that screenshot we got yesterday. It was a really good screenshot. Warrior is very similar to Fighter over in Final Fantasy 1, and is good for basically the exact same reason. It's very simple to play, but it has really good passives, it can equip almost anything, and so it's useful in almost every situation. From a mechanical perspective, Warrior might be, I think, the actual simplest class to play in the entire game, but there is enough good design under that to make it actually viable to play. I've actually talked about this before. It is in many cases harder to design something that's simple and good than to design something that is complex and good. And yeah, Warrior can do basically whatever. The game kind of wants you to be all in on two-handed axes, but as you can see, I've been sword and board this entire time. And it benefits from a lot of different sub-jobs. There's plenty of ways to take a warrior. Plus to warrior. Monk. So Monk, all 6 base classes are actually pretty similar to the FF1 counterparts, with one notable exception. Monk does really good damage. It actually does really low yellow damage, but actually really consistently high white damage. It has some good cooldowns, it has the counter ability, and also has generally good survivability and solo ability thanks to its giant pile of health and the aforementioned cooldown. So Monk's pretty solid. Okay, cool. White Mage. White Mage is the healer. There are other classes that can heal. White Mage is the healer. It is the one who you talk to and you need someone to heal. They can have better mana efficiency, they can make their AoE heals better, they can dispel better, they can heal better. They are super hyper-focused on keeping things alive. Black Mage is kind of the same, but in a weird way. I figured Black Mages would be really focused on damage, and they are, but in a different way than I expected. They're focused on being able to turn their spells into either AoEs, which is really useful in some circumstances, or dots. So Black Mage can absolutely crush things, especially in a group. This is probably one of the reasons why one of the recommended trusts is Shentoto 2, because she's just doing massive AoE nukes constantly. Yeah, exactly, Dr. See, Dr. Winter understands. So I'm kind of skipping through these relatively quickly because they're all exactly what you'd expect. They're simple but solid design. You know, versatile, good solid damage and survivability, good healer, good nuker. Okay, then we get to red. Oh, and the thief sucks, just like in FF1. Red Mage is different though. I have heard Bladefell talk up Red Mage. I think Rax has too, several times over my career of playing MMOs, and so it was interesting to really go into this. So yeah, it can melee, and yeah, it can cast, and yeah, it can heal. Cool. What it can really do is buffing and debuffing. Red Mage feels like probably one of the better... So there's several classes which are very focused on buffing, debuffing in this game. Dancer, Bard, another one I don't remember right now, and Red Mage. And, oh, Corsair, that's it, and Red Mage. Red Mage, by contrast, has all kinds of cool stuff it can do with their buffs and debuffs. It can chain stun an enemy for long periods of time, by the way. It has tons of cooldowns which increase the accuracy of its buffs, or, sorry, the accuracy of its debuffs, the potency of its buffs. It gives you the ability to just kind of say, hey, Mr. Red, Mr. Dark Knight here, start doing fire damage with your attacks. I can just do that. It also is a much higher skill ceiling, which I tend to value when it is worth it. That's kind of the... I want to talk about that briefly because... Oh, no! He's given in. Actually, yeah, no, exactly. This sounds like one of the better Red Mages I've ever seen. Which is funny, because the other really good Red Mage, in my opinion, is in FF14. Excuse me. So... I was going somewhere with that. I lost it. Skill ceiling. So there's this interesting give and take. Let's say there's a job, okay? And there's two values here, right? One of them is how difficult it is to really be able to squeeze the job out. These aforementioned skill ceiling, okay? The other is how worth it is. So let's say there's a job that's really, really hard to use and isn't worth it at all. That's a negative because you're putting tons of effort into something that you're not getting a benefit out of. Now, if you have something that's really easy to use but has good benefit, that's a positive because it's a worthwhile class. But if you have a class that is a high skill ceiling and is useful, that is multiple positives, and that's the Red Mage. Being able to have a high skill ceiling while having plenty of benefit for doing so. Red Mage is awesome. Looks really cool. It's one of the few classes that I was very tempted by before we defaulted to Warrior. We'll get to the other one in a minute. Paladin, the tank. You just summarize it by saying it's the tank. Well, a rune fencer is better in some situations, and technically a thief is better than others. Sorry, a ninja is better than others. A paladin is the tank. You have cooldowns, you have damage reduction, you have some heals, you have some buffs. It's a tank. Moving on. Dark Knight got half of a positive. So I was looking into Dark Knight, and it looked on paper like it's exactly what I've wanted Dark Knight to be over FF14. But the problem is, it isn't that. The Dark Knight just isn't... Again, it's got a decent combo and a decent skill ceiling, but it just isn't as worthwhile as it really should be. So on paper, what a Dark Knight does... Yeah, exactly, Rex. On paper, what a Dark Knight does is they spend health to do stuff, and they have abilities to drain health. There's more to it than that. I'm giving, obviously, a very super summary, but that's the basic idea. That's a good combo. It turns health into your primary resource, right? Draining becomes a tactic, and deciding when you should spend your own health to buff yourself, or to do extra damage, or to do extra abilities, becomes part of the gameplay loop. Cool. With it. positive. Problem. Almost all of that got nuked into oblivion with regards to usefulness. So a Dark Knight is another one of those higher skill ceiling, lower value classes, which, as we mentioned earlier, is not a great thing. There's still enough design here. I didn't think it was fully negative worthy. It's just, it's not as good as the other classes. Which brings me to Beastmaster, the other half of a positive class. Beastmaster, the simplest way I could explain this is Beastmaster was completely shreked by the very existence of trusts. Trusts destroyed the Beastmaster, because trusts are just better. Now, there's still some interesting stuff here. That's why I still gave it the half of a nod. There's a whole system where, like, you grab a certain type of enemy to become your pet temporarily. Charm, right? And then that pet is good against certain other types of enemies, which is good against certain other types, etc. So there's a damage circle, right? There's a axe, what is it? Axe, sword, spear? God, I haven't played Fire Emblem in a while. You know what I'm talking about, the triangle. There's an idea, it's more than 3, but there's a thing like that which makes it so that you have to think about, okay, I'm going to fight an X, so I want a Y to go find it. Yeah, exactly, Bladesville, that is how this works. Yeah, then there's Pokemon over on top of it. Was it Bo? I don't know, whatever, doesn't matter. You get the idea. Once again, a class with some interesting ideas and some interesting design that just falls to the wayside. It is Spear, I was right, God. So then we have Bard. It is shocking to me, I've talked about this for years, how few MMOs are willing to let a player be pure support. It's actually irritating to me because I like playing pure support. In fact, of the big 3, the only one that lets you do that is Guild Wars 2. WoW dipped its toes into the water on that with the Evoker, and then the Mythic Plus crowd, I'm just going to say that, whined incessantly about it for months, to the point where they finally backed off of that. Ugh. And that's all I have to say about it, is just... Ugh. So WoW came close to having a buff class. FF14 doesn't really have a buff class, so Guild Wars 2 is it. And when I say buff class, to be very clear, I mean a class that is functionally unsoloable. You need a group. But you are making that group better just by existing, and hey, FF11, Bard. They have crazy buffs, they have crazy debuffs. Arguably better buffs and debuffs than the Red Mage does, just with none of the other benefits. They also have the ability to keep 2 songs going at the same time, and this whole system about, like, okay, which do you want to use here, and blah, blah, blah. Apparently some of their songs are just noticeably less useful than others, but still, being able to walk around and just kind of ensure that the rest of the party is deaf is a nice thing. There's a reason Joachim has been one of my main trusts this entire time. I don't know, Giga. I really don't. And yeah, I'm with Rax. Unfortunately, Blizzard listened to the wrong crowd there. I'd just be blunt. Like, if I could just derail for just 1 second. If it really was considered an issue in the high-end content, just nerf Evokers in the high-end content. You can do that, game. WoW is a sufficiently advanced MMO that they can make it so that classes work differently in different content. There's a reason PvP is a completely separate animal from PvE, similar to what FF14 does now. So just do that, and let the rest of us actually enjoy a support class. Anyways, moving on. Ninja! If you remember, I gave a negative to Ninja. I also gave a positive to Ninja. There is still enough design here. The idea of an evasion tank is still interesting, and it does still have the ability to fill a lot of different slots reasonably well. Samurai, what I find amusing is that even though the execution is completely different, from sitting down and playing it as a player, Samurai is very similar to FF14. It is a high skill ceiling, high damage output class. You have to do a lot more to keep up, but my god, you can put out some numbers if you do. They have incredible TP generation, access to extremely good weapon skills, and the ability to set up tons and tons of skill chains for other people in the party. Yeah, exactly, Rex. Like, Samurai is just... Woof. Samurai got a double. Samurai is very well designed. Speaking of Dragoon... Dragoon is interesting. So, Dragoon is definitely fun. and it's got great class fantasy, which is always nice. The problem I have with Dragoon, the biggest problem, is a huge amount of its overall gameplay is actually centered entirely around the Wyvern, your little pet that you get with you for having it. Now, there's good design to that. Based on your sub-job and based on your abilities, you can change what the Wyvern does and how it operates, and the Wyvern itself can kind of fulfill different slots while you are stabbing things with a spear. And, of course, the Dragoon also has, near as I can tell, some of the best ability to control its own aggro in the entire game, of any class in this game. I think they have something like 5 separate abilities that lower their own enmity generation, in addition to the ability to effectively vanish, or feign death, to use a WoW example. Just, nope, I'm not here. Don't look at me. Okay, good. Yeah, exactly, Rex. Your Wyvern is just kind of your linchpin. But if you keep it solid, it is solid. Speaking of which, this is a good time to talk about Blue Mage. Blue Mage is our first triple positive class. I'm just going to say that. Blue Mage is really good in terms of design. It has 2 big things going for it. First, it obviously has the blue spells themselves. And in the interest of deference, a lot of the blue spells are very useful in this game, as they usually are in any FF. It also has the ability to control their own TP usage, which is fantastic. It benefits from all kinds of sub-job combinations, similar to the warrior we mentioned earlier. And of course, it also gains passives from the blue magic spells you currently have slotted. So in other words, you can turn a blue mage into basically anything, and it will not simply be good at that, it'll actually be really good at that. A blue mage is probably the truest red mage we have in FF11. And yeah, if you put in the work, a blue mage will be a wrecking ball. So Dancer. I'm biased because I'm playing a Dancer, which is why I can do things like this. Dancers are still interesting. They're less buffer debuffers than, say, Bard, but more damagers. They can do more stuff, and they have more gameplay to it. Rather than setting up your songs, they set... dual wield is actually extremely useful. In fact, I could dual wield 2 swords if I bothered to get a second ambuscade score right now. But yeah, Dancer has more healing, Dancer has more damage, and it also has this little mechanic where you set up steps, which you can then finish with something called a finishing move. And finishing moves can be all kinds of fun little things. So more gameplay, more benefit, and generally useful in multiple roles. Dancer is a good class. And yeah, is literally a better thief than Thief. That's not a joke. Scholar. Hybrid class, uses abilities to push down cooldowns, and it can buff itself into being very, very good at damage spells or very, very good at healing spells. It'll never be quite as good as a black mage or a white mage, but it is shockingly good at both, depending on the circumstances. Geomancer is a weird one. I almost didn't give a positive to Geomancer, because it's another buff class. Another buff class I forgot about. Buff debuff. But there's 2 things that made Geomancer really cool that I think deserve that extra little oomph. First of all, it's really about positioning, which, if you're paying attention, is the first job total. I think it's actually the only job that really cares about positioning in this game. So a Geomancer can do buffs and debuffs centered around themselves, which have a limited range. So your position matters, and you want to make sure you're casting those in the right spots. You can also maintain those, so your positioning matters regardless of when you actually cast the buffs. The second thing they can do is they can plop a totem down, which, you guessed it, radiates buff/debuff from that totem. And you get abilities to like heal it or remove it or whatever. And these buffs and debuffs can affect an entire raid. In other words, they're not just limited to your party. So, between the positioning and the utility, I think Geomancers get a nod there. Rune Fencer is the magic tank. Now, Rune Fencers are very cool. And Rune Fencers are so cool, they just disconnected Mr. Red. That's just how cool they are. It's kind of impressive, really, when you think about it. Rune Fencers, they cast runes. So the simplest example is if I give myself a lightning rune, my weapon will now do lightning damage, but also I gain earth resistance, or whatever the opposite of lightning is. That's already cool and interesting, but it of course helps with their magic tank. viability. But also it means you can do this to some of your other party members and be like, hey, you, do this. It's cool. I don't know what else to add to that. Rune Fencers have decent skill ceiling, decent utility, and great usage, and they're just generally fun. Which brings us to the final class I'm going to talk about before we finally get to some cutscenes. And that would be Corsair. So, a fun little story. Of the 3 classes we were most considering for me playing, Corsair was the second. It was the one I was very, very tempted by. Ultimately, I think it was the right move not to do that, because for what this run is, that would probably be more aggravating than anything else. And would honestly probably slow the run down, too, while we're at it. But Corsair is just a damned well-designed job. So Corsairs have the ability to buff, I know, and debuff. You're probably tired of hearing me say those words. But so they roll a dice, right? And the dice determines the value of the buff you can give out. So lower roll is bad, higher roll is good, but those dice can go up higher than the basic d6 that you roll. That's because you have abilities that can either roll an extra dice or lock a particular dice roll in, or essentially give you some degree of luck control over what you're doing with the dice. If you remember, one of my biggest complaints over in WoW is there is a class which relies entirely on a literal coin flip right now. And that sucks because you have no capacity to control or adjust it. There's no gameplay there. It's literally just a dice roll as you're kind of waiting for stuff to happen. By contrast, the Corsair actually allows you to have a degree of control over that. But you have to be careful of that because those controls are all cooldowns, which means you can only do so much at certain times and blah, 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 blah. All of that is on a top of having a couple of decent ranged attacks, decent melee damage, and basically being another good I can do damage but also do tons of other things at the same time. It is a very well designed class, and I guess that's all I have to say about that. So Corsair is another triple. That's 2 triple classes, Blue Mage and Corsair. I also gave some build positives for obvious reasons. The fact that you can do job, sub-job, plus equipment setup equals some build gameplay. That's also cool. Yeah, exactly. Corsair is a triple positive without the asterisk that Blue gets. Blue Mage is technically a single positive. Oh man, FF11 is a net gameplay positive now. That's a lie. I'm not a good liar. I'm sorry. It's only like it's below negative 300 now. That's what it's pushed up to. Okay. All right. Now what's the end game day? Oh, it just ticked over. I spent too much time talking about that. I apologize. I suck. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Let's take our time. We've got a long cutscene up. And then we're going to play some ESO. Let me add the... Well, not the... What we need to be. I'm not going to walk. That's just... Dang it. Okay, so where am I going? I have to actually manually enter the zone from here, which is just weird. I did actually see that, Blade Troll. I have not logged in yet, but I saw that you messaged me about it. All right, full time, full speed, full tilt. We're so slow. I've also started the boring audit for FF11. I know that's a little preemptive, but honestly, I think the gameplay has mostly solidified at this point. So I feel kind of comfortable starting the gameplay audit. Lord knows there's a lot of points to audit there. Highland Earth. No, exactly, Blade of all. I mean, even from what we've already seen with Rhapsodies, it is almost entirely focused on story, and all of the gameplay is just kind of the same areas and the same stuff we've already been doing. There's apparently one new zone, and I'm not even sure there's any new dungeons. Yeah, sorry, this is the Iron Giants are. You know what? Actually, shoot. I should do something really quick. I'm sorry. Since I'm no longer in as much of a hurry, I'm going to AFK for a couple of minutes. I apologize. I have to deal with a trash thing. Here. You probably don't want to hear the song for a couple of minutes. But I got your back, fam. I'll be right back. that. Ash is dealt with. Normal needs have given. I know, right, Mr. Rick? Weird. Alright, enough of this incredible music. Get out of here. Get out of here. Nobody likes that music. Ugh, garbage. I spit on it. Hi, Mister. Hi, push-ups. Hi, Kenexco. Look, it's the Lore Runner, the monster, and the princess too. It's also Manchester's favorite song in the entire game. You guys are the best. First, I'm glad to see you. You rescued everyone. I had the strangest dream. I saw you riding a big white dragon with a bunch of pretty golden lights around you. And the lights came to me and I woke up. Grandpa and Mama were there crying. They said I'd been sleeping a long time. I know what happened. You and Laura helped me just like you did back to the forest. Before it was some herbs, but this time you woke me from my dream. I know it. Yeah. I know it. Can I ask you a question? You remember when you and the princess helped me, how I said I wanted to learn magic? Of course. I knew you would. Magic looks so wonderful, so I thought it'd be fun. You know what I want to do now? I want to be just like you. No, no, you don't. A big, strong pioneer. Then I could be friends with the forest and play with the animals. It's tough out there. Don't think I'll go easy on you. Me and my friends are going to do some training to become the best pioneers ever. See you soon. So, I thought I'd share something. I don't know the specifics yet. I guess we'll wait until we get there. There's a dialogue coming up where if I pick an option 12 times in a row, I will get an extra scene with Arciella and her skirt. You also apparently lose affinity with her down to the minimum point possible, although I actually did some digging, and near as I could tell, that doesn't do anything from this point onwards. So I'm not sure why that's relevant. I mean, I'm not going to do it. I don't want her skirt. That's kind of weird and kind of gross. You may proceed. Permission. There's no need for special information. I was way to where you were coming. Please. Yeah, I'm actually curious what the dialogue option is. We'll see when we get. It's actually after the day wait. See, the thing is, I don't know push-ups. I don't know what it actually involves. We'll see when we get there. I do know what the item says. There's a flavor text on it. It was undoubtedly improper for you to obtain an item of such personal nature, but the ornate plate of Adam and gold make it as fanciful as it is eye-catching. Lore Runner, you've come. So how many times have you been to this room so we could ponder our next step? I think I've lost count, but maybe I should have tried harder to remember. That's a glass of vegetable juice. Gwyneth made it for me from the bunch brought in this morning. And who do you think delivered them directly from the Civic Arboretum? Shelvala herself. Yeah, because the maid is dead. The main ingredients is, of course, tomatoes, but it also contains a hint of other fruits and vegetables. How is it? It's really sweet. I can also pick... Ew, I've got cuties. Though the Arboretum is still small and the Adventures Coalition has work to do, the bounty tastes as sweet as finest imported honey. Young stalks brought from the forest are planted and grow, producing the food that will sustain future generations. But the fear of the forest is deeply ingrained in Adeline, and many still view anything originating there with trepidation. I can only hope that in time our people begin to realize the forest can provide us if we pay proper respect. And even when I grow old, I'll never get the taste of this juice today. Glad I was there to share it with you. Thank you, Walker. As always. Oh, God. That was a camera choice. I'll put that toward Chain Echoes, the SNES block, and FF7R1. Done. Ahem. There's some other things I remember just as clearly. Oh yes, don't think I'll let you off that easily. I can still feel the heat of your hand when you struck me across the cheek. Though I knew there was a true sense of care and concern behind your actions. Please don't wax philosophical about when I slapped some sense into you. At least that's how I like to think of it. Oh my god. Game. Look, I'm sorry. What would you do if I said some things can't be forgiven? I'd go off and do rhapsodies. Bye. I'm just pulling your tail. Consider it payback. Jesus Christ. Game, come on. You know, I felt this strange tingling when we first met. Is it just me? Is this that what this is? Is this a me problem? I don't want to call it a premonition because that would be too grandiose, but I knew something was going to happen. You swept through Adeline like the wind, touching all you passed by. Yes, the wind. Now I see why. The winds you brought were those of change. I know all of Adeline had stagnated. All that appeared before us, all that occurred in the forest, we turned our faces from it. We never realized Yggdrasil was dying. We never realized the Serpentine Labyrinth was arising anew. The old proverbs mentioned there's always a calm before the storm, but your winds helped us weather all that was to come. It started out with a breeze, with leaves fluttering gently but slowly, as you started pushing us forward, helping us to walk step by step toward the Herculean task that lay before us. And for that I will always be grateful. Remember the conversation we had some weeks ago? I said that even though we're weak, we become stronger and protect those we love. Humanity isn't strong, and oftentimes we can only hope for miracles to occur. Those miracles inspire us to become greater. I always believed that to be true, but surely I'm not the only one. All that live in the forest, the knock walls, the precious sprites, the leafkin, even those beasts who sought to impede your progress, even they... Thank you. You've sheltered us all. The city, the jungle, me. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is a little sister relationship. This is a woman I want to give a big hug to. You know what I mean? Come on. It's cool. Come here. It's okay. It's okay. I know it's been a really rough couple of weeks. When I look inward and think of you, I get interrupted. Yes? What is it? Yeah, no, exactly, Trihexia. This woman needs a hug. The heads of the 12 orders request your presence to discuss a matter most urgent. Forgive me, they insist you hurry. I haven't made peace with them after those harsh words we exchanged. I'll come along with, and so will my sword. I'm not the leader of a nation. I just kill all of them. No, I will stop making excuses. This is another obstacle I must confront. You remember my favorite scene in Dragon Age 4? I'm just saying. Walk right up to Libert, asshole. Hey, what's up? Wonk! Right across the jaw. Just a right hook. Right in there. Bam. Boom. Yeah, that is unironically my favorite scene in that game. I am not apologetic for that. I also like, in no particular order, and I am a fool. And pretty much everything to do with reaffirming our love for Emmerich, even, you know, after. Yeah, Hildebert, that's him. And he just walks up, and I just walk up. Right across the jaw. No, nothing. Just right there. Whoosh. Hildebert, Arciello, we stand before you today knowing we have earned all the ire you threw at us. That's right, we smothered the Tataros and we punched Elvons. You were in the right. We were consumed by our struggle for power, squabbling over trivialities while people begged for succor. How far have we fallen from grace when we were once united in our goal of bringing splendor to our fair nation? But any reason I give you would just ring hollow. So, okay. Let's get this out of the way. The reason this is happening is because this is basically a fairy tale. But here's the thing. If I was to be generous, which for the record I am not, I would say that the mere existence and presence of Hades and his curse was, shall we say, stoking the fires. If you were paying attention, there's this weird undercurrent. And it's so common, I think it was deliberate. It just was probably cut content. Because remember, we're basically done with the expansion, and there's a ton of cut content on the floor. But my point is, there's... Yeah, exactly, People Good Faith. There's a constant trend of people being more argumentative and more literally violent than they normally would be, right? This is something that was a constant trend throughout the whole thing, going all the way back to when we first hit the Colosseum and two people were willing to actually murder each other over a relatively minor dispute. And again, the entire expansion has little things like that here and there. So I was sort of of the assumption that this is one of those things like FF4. Small spoilers, but the main villain of FF4 is basically beaming hate into the entire planet, which is causing issues. Like a lot of the individual problems in FF4 are caused because hate beam, right? Similar concept. So yeah, I thought Hades was stoking the fires, and I thought people were worse than they normally were because of that. He's gone. Yeah, no, exactly, Blado. It wasn't even a dispute. It was just an argument. It was just two people yelling at each other. Neither person could win that. They just wanted to kill each other over it. So, now that Hades is gone, Hildebert being willing to take a step back and see reason makes sense. I'm not sure if the game gets credit for that, like I said. I do think they were laying the bricks for that to be a plot point. I also think that plot point has basically been abandoned at this point, because I haven't seen any sign of it being addressed in universe. Really quick, thank you, Ben One Eye, for being part of the show. I'll put the towards Godzilla, etc., Naruto, etc., and Tokyo Extreme Racing. And then Game Geek. Actually, yeah, Trihexia. Similar concept. Or the drum beats, if you remember that. Game Geek is playing towards Civilization 4, Victoria 3, and Galciv 3. Done. Thank you both of you very much. Ahem. I am more responsible for it than anyone in this hall. When you spoke to us harshly with a clear mind and heart free of deceit, I turned on you as a shark sensing blood in the water. In my rage, I spewed such filth as cannot possibly be forgiven. Would that I could take it back, but doing so would not mend the wounds I have inflicted. The reason I linked you that one specifically, Benwana, is because she was talking the whole time. And so she get across some of the train games that might have piqued your interest. Hopefully there's at least one there that's interesting to you, because I'm pretty sure it's going live right now. I saw a couple that looked interesting. Though it makes not the slightest ounce of difference, I offer my sincerest apologies. Arciela, I am deeply sorry. So, hi, Arciela. Machero. Surely does beat all, doesn't it? You aren't the tiniest bit surprised? Well, you're no fun. Surely you saw the 1,000 rays of golden light a while ago. It was the World Tree. World Tree, huh? I'll be that as way. The light came streaming through the air, and before you know it, this fool was bouncing off the walls. The whole time he kept babbling a bunch of nonsense. I saw the true nature of things. It's not nonsense, you pea-brained idiot. The truth of everything lay before me like an open book. Yeah, I'm sure Altana blessed you with a holy prophetic vision. I'll condescend to hear your little tale later, so shut your trap. And if this dunderhead managed to come out, you can figure out what happened next. Oh, the maid's alive. Oh, maybe not. All those in the city who dropped unconscious, be they of 12 orders or not, popped right back up as if nothing had happened. Right as rain. Honestly, that's got to be a huge relief. The apology's nice, but yeah, fairy tale ending. What happened to Tiana wasn't a dream. Well, I apologize for getting caught in the moment. I let my mouth run a little too wild. It's one of my character flaws. Lore Runner, no, please. A flaw, like the way you sit there making excuses. I know just the place to send you for rehabilitation. Deep into the snowy paradise of the Khmer Drifts. Quit butting into these people's business. Can't you see I'm trying to make a heartfelt apology? It doesn't sound like an apology so much as a smarmily weaseling your way out of responsibility. For someone so calculating, you're not terribly good at putting two and two together. Sorry. Arciela, Lore Runner. I'm not clear on the details, but we've all heard the gist of what happened. You gave us the opportunity to come together as one again. The opportunity? Good day, Arciela. Oomph. More Vortimir, Ingrid. And yet another. Moramar. Oh god, he hasn't had cooked food in how many years now? Hey, princess. Moramar? Had a little run-in with this lady for a friend of yours. After we parted, she stumbled upon me dragging back here. Not quite kicking and screaming, mind you, but... At least, not then. So she drags me up here and lays me into me before fixing me up right in front of your higher-ups. What is she doing? What is she doing? Who goes around doing that? Honestly. You insufferable fools in that squalid lump of metal you call a weapon might have defeated Hades. But whining about the 12 Orders' problems with spit drilling down your collective chins makes my stomach churl. Is hacking and cleaving the remnants of a 2-bit has-been all you know how to do? Did you deign to even spare a thought for what will happen next? Yeah, no, sorry, I was too busy beating another god to save your life. I'm up to 3 now. The merciless one had to swoop in and prevent this oldster from bleeding out on the carpets. Show some gratitude for once. I convinced Silbert and the others' orders of what occurred that terrible day. Yet an absolution is not something I seek. I have wronged you more than the others. Later I withdrew to look at the city with fresh eyes, and I realized how terrible my mistake was. What has been done cannot be undone. I'm telling you, curse gone, right? but I am ready to face any punishment you deem acceptable under Adolin law, despite my status as a man of the cloth. Yes, I must answer to the laws of the Church and the State. You have a grand benevolence to forgive Ingrid her wrongdoing, but the entire affair was my idea. I am ready. The intent behind our actions was immaterial, for the ends would never have justified the means. Everyone here understands and deeply regrets their consent, whether tacit or explicit. That's one of the reasons we're here. Arciel, we are terribly sorry. The other 11 orders have signed a pact. No longer will we engage in faction warfare. It'll take a while for that to percolate to the lower ranks, but we'll work at it. It's a task for us all to face. Technically, I was a proponent of colonization, but you know what? It doesn't matter to me either way, as long as we all agree on something. And look at you, Flaviria. Your flair for diplomacy makes me a bit ill on the inside. How lovely it is to be getting along at last. At last? How would you know? You never contributed to these meetings. I was about to say, who is this woman? Don't think for a second we're letting you off easy now. Yes, ma'am. Arcia, we have prepared to accept the Order of Adolin's leadership. Your leadership. United under your banner. Under the King Monarch. I was right yesterday. We're going to reestablish the monarchy. As it was in the time of the Founder King. Lead us to prosperity. And she's going to say no. I understand. Forgiveness takes time. No, it's not a question of forgiveness. I, too, am filled with great regret and shame over the things I've done. She is such a marshmallow. To hear you say something like this comes as a total shock. Truth be told, the reason I came here today was to apologize to all of you. No apologies are necessary. We're the ones who did not stand strong behind you in your times of need. No, I can't. I can't. Hearing you say this all has moved me beyond words. Thank you for being here. And I'm sorry for having been so brash and rude. Uh-huh. Your petition has hit the soft spot of my heart, as opposed to all the other parts, which are much harder. I cannot accept. The Order of Adolin has weakness, my brother. It is not my place to lead. Forgive me. Yeah, I told you she'd say no. Perhaps I should abdicate in your favor. I liked him better as a leafling. How long has it been since you've seen me like this, Arcia? Weakness. Everything you've done for this nation I have watched from afar. You isolated yourself from the squabbling of the others and continued on the path you felt was right. A noble path, one worthy of a queen. Of that there can be no debate. Orthorseen is proof of the Founder King's will. I shunned it, electing for the path of colonization instead. Were not for you taking it up, we would have sat gathering dust in a never-opened treasury safe. Looking upon it now, I believe the future has been decided at that moment. No, Ignis, you're taking that a bit too far. But what are you doing, Stepbro? Let us set that aside and return to the request Hildebert made of you. I'm the one who pushed him into that decision. Yeah, I'm sorry, is white hair a dominant trait for their family? She's young. The Dynast King, or whatever his name was, even commented on her having the white hair. But, like, surely they're not inbreeding, right? So the white hair gene is, like, overriding everything as it goes down the generations. No one has thought of the country's greater welfare more than you, not just in words, but in actions. No matter how simply you explained your experiences in the world you've seen, none of us here could begin to comprehend your wisdom. Also, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4/9 of the characters on screen right now have white hair. One of them is graying. A new future awaits our city, and you're the only one who can lead us there. Should you not listen to Hildebert, at least listen to me. Show us what the bright future looks like. Please. Oh god, they all have white or blonde hair. No! Damn you, Amano! Damn you! I have white hair too. Shoot! No! It's spread to me! There's much left to learn, and I will need help on the way. But I know I am not alone. All of you are here too. Adolin's path is for us to decide. Screw the paupers and the peasants. We are in charge now. A speech? Yes. A decision this... I feel this decision deserves a speech with proper gravitas. But this is also sudden. I need time to... RCL, everyone wants to hear something that comes right from your heart. No one expects something stuffy and formal. Oh my god, you're right. We spread democracy in FF14 and monarchies in FF11. I'm not really joking. Think about it. Think about how many monarchies we save throughout the course of FF11 story arcs. Like Sandoria Vanilla, just to name one right off the top of my head. The Ottergon chain, where we basically help the Empress take the throne. Right? Right? Understood. The best monster in FF? The Tonberry. Obviously! Bonus points to the Cactuar. I set foot in the forest out of a sense of curiosity and learned much with every step I took. But I would have met nothing but dead ends were it not for the support and cooperation of many. We have been driven apart into houses supporting and opposing colonization. And civil debate often gives way to flaring tempers. But none of that matters now. What Adolin needs more than ever are strong ties, strong rulership, and a steel heart to carry the whip that will whip this nation back into shape. I cannot deny that the jungle has suffered more than any, so we will carry the jungle's burden upon the poor's back, ensuring that they all scream suffering until their dying days. My aim is to respect the cyclical nature of land, live in harmony with the powers guiding it, and lead the forest in the same prosperity we desire to achieve. Just as we have our own hopes and fears, so too does the forest, a living, breathing thing! As much as any of us, we must respect and revere each other. That is how we achieve true progress. True, Mad Overlord. Please, everyone, hear my plea. I cannot do this alone. Ah, good point, Mr. Red. It is fantasy, so... Under the light of this blade and the banner of the Founder King, I vow our union will never again be broken! Until about, I'm thinking 1 generation from now. Like, her children will already be in a civil war. I'm just saying. Would imagine things would fall into place so quickly. Princess sure grew up fast. Hey, real quick, what time is it in game, Mr. Red? Lore Runner, our roles in this affair are internet. Let's sneak out of here. The only one who notices us leave is Ingrid. Nice, that's actually a good time. Because, yep, we should be... Maybe not. No, we're good. Yep. Excellent. So let me get in position for the next cutscene. Because you guessed it, we had to have one last way today. Okay, so this is going to sound unkind. I would like to argue a negative for the cutscene we just saw. Hear me out. Hear me out. One of the shows that I really enjoy is My Little Pony. No, go ahead, get it out of your system. I've heard it all, trust me. I've covered MLP on the YouTube. I'm good. But while MLP is an excellent show, consistently high quality, it does have one recurring flaw. See, MLP is what we call a 22. Back in the day when all television was designed around regular commercial breaks, they established, this is like a thing established back in the 60s. They established the rule of the 44s, the 22s, and I think it's the 11s. I'm almost positive. In other words, an 11-minute episode, a 22-minute episode, or a 44-minute episode, which would take 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour, respectively. Make sense? Now, 22s, in general, have to do more lifting in order to really work. Exactly. PB can fade. Because There we go. Yeah, exactly. 11s were almost always aired in pairs, 2 episodes per 1 slot. A modern example of that would be like Bluey, for example. There's others, but you get the idea. Anywho, yeah, you already get where I'm going with this Blades of Vault. The biggest problem that 22 has is whenever they have something that needs time to breathe, it doesn't get it. It's one of the reasons why most of the two-parters in MLP tend to work a lot better, is because they have 44 minutes to work with. And across those 44 minutes, they can do a proper outro to the particular plot or thread or whatever it is that they're dealing with that particular day. So that's cool. But if they don't have that time, then everything wraps up a little bit too neatly and a little bit too quickly because they're essentially racing the clock. Yeah, 44 is actually a very good format for television. I agree with you completely. As much as I think MLP is one of the best shows of all time, I honestly think MLP would have really benefited from it having a 44 format. Yeah, exactly, Ross. Perfect example of that. Now, there's a lot more we could say about that. Let's just throw all that out the window, because the important part right now is FF11. Honestly, it's not really, if I'm being completely honest with myself, it's not just a negative for that scene. It's kind of a negative for all of the final act. We were effectively in Act 3, but Act 1 was pretty chonky. It was like all the way up into 3-2 or something like that. Act 2 was pretty decent. And then Act 3 was, let's go! Done. Yeah, no, that's exactly right, Blade Troll. That's exactly the thought I have here. I actually like this scene for what it is, and I like the way things go for what they are, but it really needed some time to breathe. And as Mr. Red pointed out, it needed more establishment to really earn the scene that happened. As is, it's more like, all right, we're done. Let's do it. Wrap up. Everyone go home. I will also admit, in the interest of total honesty, that I prefer, one of the only things I like about the digital era of television, pretty much the only thing I like about the digital era of television, is that an episode can be exactly as long or as short as it needs to be. Uh-oh, it's Miss Pounce-a-Lot. Oh. Yep, hang on, let me get my swords. I don't remember if Arcane and or both do that, but... Look, just hit a random, that's all I care about. Oh, right, they're going to be my... Mail? There we go. Okay, so it's... T, not R. There we go. There we go. I almost said R, not T. Hang on. Yeah, I'm ready. Just give me a second. Ah! Ooh, nice blue snow. Hope it's a good one. That sounds hysterical, push-ups. Okay, so... This one goes down here. There we go. There we go. Okay. Is this the 140, by the way? Like, is this my final weapon? Okay, so someone remember the number 15 for me, please. Please, please, please. Oh, I also need to pop this. It's actually important. There we go. Okay. Oh, absolutely, Ross. Creativity can use ad breaks well. I mean, creativity can use anything well. It just tends to be bad. See, I learned something today. I learned about war crimes. What? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Ah! Ah! And I'm already deformed. Why? I'm gonna go with yes, please. Yeah, I learned something today. Oh wait, no I didn't. I was right all along. I mean, I think I could change that, Talia. I just don't have a lot of reason to. Oh, you mean 5 slots. Yeah, I get you on that. I still don't understand the werewolf. I should just research why it worked, because there seems to be no actual logic behind when it's running out and when it isn't. Sometimes it just sits there forever. And then sometimes it's like, I lose it after a few fights, in combat, no less. You'll notice I have a new werewolf bar on the upper left, but I don't understand why it's going up. Yeah, similar to Guild Wars 2, ESO kind of expects you to swap between your 2 bars. I don't have that set up a lot right now because I'm a werewolf. There's so many abilities you can use in a werewolf. Okay, I'm going to eat a little bit more. I don't know what this does, but I'm going to eat a whole bunch. Do I need to stop? Yeah, that's actually a good question. Looks like I don't actually need to let the animation finish. That's good to know. Means I can eat a lot faster. Nom, 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 nom. See, now it says need to eat. Why? So what I was doing was I had my second bar set up as my magic abilities, my first bar as my stamina abilities. I have since been informed that was stupid and I'm dumb and worthless. I don't have a strong setup to do that otherwise. I'll think about that more when I spend some time actually thinking about my build. See, it says need to eat again. Why? But why is it saying I need to? I don't understand. Ah! Like I said, I need to research how werewolf actually works. Because I feel like there's some mechanics I just actually don't understand. And that's why I keep having issues with werewolf form. I have an extremely high metabolism. Oh, so damage I take reduces bar, huh? Okay. And so eating gives me werewolf health, for lack of a better way to call that. Hello? Okay. Hello? Hello? Hi. Whatever. guy here. Looks like eating heals me, too. Yeah, as I say, we're back into a vanilla dungeon. Hang on, what did you ask, Master? I actually missed it. Delicious mud crabs. You can tell we're not playing the Archangonian. I hope these kills count. So hypothetically, I'm going to stop eating, because hypothetically I should be good on werewolf. That actually hurt. Holy crap. Oh god, that actually really hurts. And I deformed. But my bar was full. Why did I deform? You lied to Giga. You lied to me. Oh, that's why it's saying need to eat. I don't have a buff food up. I don't even have any buff foods. Yeah, sure not. There. Okay. That's something I haven't determined yet, Mad Overlord. I've been trying to level it pretty consistently lately. I'm not sure if it's worth doing. Execute spam does a lot of damage. I still have a closer. And then AoE bleed. Yeah, that's why I've been trying to level Werewolf, because I have this weird feeling that it would be more worthwhile once I have, you know, the whole thing. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of werewolves in dungeons, too, if you've been paying attention over the last week. Speaking of. So my bar's empty again. Okay, cool. Yeah, you notice we have 2 werewolves in this dungeon. I think at least part of the problem is I'm set up as a damage werewolf, not a tank werewolf. Yeah, 2 werewolves and 2 bears walk into a bar. The bartender freaks out and runs. I mean, I'm already an Archangonian. An Argonian werewolf. Archangonian wolf? I don't know. You get the idea. This way? No? Where are we going? Oh god, where am I? We came from that way, I think? This way. I think. Or not. Okay, sure. I accept being teleported. Yes, yes, this is Final Fantasy XI, Seekers of Adoulin. As you can see, they made a couple of changes. 1 or 2. And I deformed again. Why? I've got to research it. I've got to figure out why I keep deforming randomly. Like, just completely randomly. Me, just gonna execute spam a little bit here. And done. Okay, so what was the number I asked you to remember? Pretty sure it was 15.
Ebony blade, this is it. We found the shrine.
Hang on. We're still leveling. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Give it a second. Still going. Still going. There we go. We are now level 34. We gained 16 champion levels. Okay. Alright, so I should be done with the quest. Yeah, I am. Okay. It's ESO, you buy it, you're good. And then they leave through. Leave through. Honestly, I do too, Reggie. I get why some people don't like executes. But honestly, having played a lot of games with an execute concept, executes... First of all, there's nothing wrong with having an execute. Second of all, the way you make an execute useful is you have other stuff that synergizes with execute. I will point to Modern WoW, as I often do, as a perfect example of this. Because Modern WoW has really good execute design, because it has things that buff execute, or give you free executes, or execute make your bleeds do more damage, or execute make your debuffs do, like bigger, stuff like that. Yeah, sorry, execute does more damage when the enemy is below a health threshold. This game obviously has one of those. It's the ability I've been using on my number 3 button, which is this thing, Executioner. Deals up to 400% more damage to enemies with less than 50% health. 91? I remember those dark days. It's dark and terrible days. But no, I'm not much of a nostalgia person in general. Dawn's Wrath. Oh, wow. I don't even have that ability. Burns an enemy with a ray of holy fire, dealing tons of damage over 3 seconds. Deals up to 500% more damage to enemies below 33% health. That's a magic ability, but still. Oof. There's no way to turn its stamina? That's a shame. I don't know, I've got lots of options, and respecking is a joke in this game. And I have tons of skills lying. I got 33 skill points lying around, because I've been pretty diligent about getting sky shards. Month. Maybe more, Spartan.
Magistrate's Blast did something terrible to the people of...
Yeah, it's not like the Greatsword Execute is bad. I do feel funny. Almost all of my skills are two-handed skills and werewolf. I don't use any Templar abilities.
All are welcome.
They all just feel worse. I don't know if that's a balancing issue or what. All this. Like I said, I need to do a deep dive on what the heck we're... Oh my god, Richie, that's horrifying. Amusing, but horrifying. Alright, real quick, let me... Yeah, nope, don't care. No, you're fine, Gig. I understood immediately. I have lots of characters which are synced with other people. Makes sense. There we go. Okay. What's an antiquity? What's a scryable? What? What that is? A minigame to find items. That sounds like something I'm not gonna do. Okay. We should be good. And yeah, champion levels are flowing, which is great. Oh yeah, we can show off this new sword now. So there's our Daedric weapon appearance for ESO. Not too shabby. I kind of don't prefer curved swords unless they're samurai swords. That's sick katanas. But that's still decent. It does very much look Daedric. I don't know what glass looks like in ESO. And I don't think I have any way of finding out like quickly. But whatever. Moving on. Yeah, I'll just pull it up over here. What does a glass greatsword look like? That can't possibly be glass. What about this? There we go. That's weird. Kinda neat. I don't know. I'm not super into it. Okay, has it been a day? It has just ticked over into a new day. Jesus Christ. So we need almost that entire dungeon. Okay, who's ready to see why we can take at Arciella's skirt? I'm not doing it. I'm just curious why. Oh, I didn't even check if I leveled my werewolf. There you are. The evil one. You and Moramar just snuck off like children escaping from a sermon. I'm glad you made your peace. Stop trying to change the subject. Remember the promise we made, not just in Leafalia, but in the castle? You said we'd stick through things together, and then you leave me. I'm just jabbing you to get you back. Of course I was sad, but your being there at all meant a lot. Arciella! You can't go running off like that. Gwyneth will have my head. Aw, oh, damn it, she's alive. Or, I mean, good, she's alive. Stupid Framilla. Maybe you should have kept up. Yeah, fly around like us. Stupid Framilla. I didn't run all the way out here just to... Stop being such a baby. Yeah, quit whining. After all, we're the best of friends now. Congratulations, Framilla. You are now friends with Faye. We've taken a real liking to Framilla. Ever since the orders and I made up, they've been fluttering around her day and night. To be honest, I'm a bit jealous. I was so happy when she finally woke up. She had it tougher than the rest, being possessed by Balamar. But now she's the perfect picture of health and energy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she actually died. I have made her my personal attendant. Why? I asked her. You were at the castle, everything happened so fast. I know she can be a bit daft at times, but at the same time, her hard work and dedication inspire me to greater heights. I brought her with me to the jungle to help get her in tip-top shape. At least that's what I told her. Ignis helped them to see that none of us meant any harm. But you've experienced how temperamental they can be. Eventually we got through to them. Don't think we've totally forgiven you. Yeah, because we haven't. I suppose not. Ah! She's done it again. And to the rescue we go. Whee! Though a bit childlike, they connect the forest to humanity, and I fully intend to make sure our relationship is always positive and fruitful. I thought you'd ask about Ignis. Though you may have guessed that little Leafkin is my brother. The curse is lifting. Ignis is back to normal. But now he can switch back and forth at will. Okay. I would have given anything to capture the look on Gwyneth's face when she saw him poof out in a bundle of leaves. He's given me so much wonderful advice, and it seems he prefers that form to his human one. But I'm not sure how I feel about it. Whew. My days and nights are filled with matters of state, and time vanishes like smoke on the wind. Sometimes I wonder if we'll even have the time to talk anymore. Up until just a while ago, we stood together, shoulder to shoulder, but now the city's at peace. Don't get me wrong, I don't begrudge it a minute, but no victory is accomplished without a price. Colonization continues, and Adeline remains in need of pioneers, especially men and women like you. Remember how I referred to you as the wind? It was a curse. You are a curse. You're a blight, sir. Sir, you are a blight. If you try to seal wind away, it quickly turns to ordinary air for it is to continue blowing. It needs to travel the world. And I want you to continue blowing at the backs of those who need a little push forward. Like your apprentice from the future. Which I actually looked up is apparently pronounced Iroha. Which, yeah, that makes sense. You must bring positive change to them in the same way you did to me in my city. Because of that, I know it would be wrong to tie you here. But no matter where your travels take you, I hope you'll return to us from time to time, lending a hand when it's needed. It'd be no greater honor than to... Oh, I almost forgot something. I was speaking with Ingrid a while ago. She mentioned you have a little something to return to me. Okay. So apparently, if we refuse to return her bonnet, she gives us her skirt. What? I can kind of see the logic that's like, oh, well, if you've been stealing all my clothes, here's more of them, I guess is the reasoning there, but whatever. Here, have your frickin' bonnet back. I'm so glad it didn't get lost. Oh, I'm gonna wear that sucker. Kidding me? Yeah. I've got a couple similar ones, but this is my absolute favorite. When I came to Kamira, I immediately noticed, God, oh my God, come on. I was actually pretty depressed. You see, my mother made this for me. Thank you for taking such good care of it. Oh, apparently you also hold on to the bonnet, which is also kind of a dick move, since it's something her mother made for her, but whatever. Wait, what are we doing? What's going on? Surely you didn't think I'd be sitting behind a desk shuffling papers all day. If I'm going to lead, I'll do it my way, by setting an example of harmony between people and junk. That's good. Or Fermilla. What is... Princess Arciela? Over here, Fermilla. Princess, 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 princess. You have to keep up. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Lore Runner, don't forget about me. I will never forget about you if you make a cameo in FF14. At this point, and please do not answer this, I'm actually really curious how many of these characters are going to show up in FF14. The only one I would put money down is Prish. Well, and Shantoto. Shantoto because she's a meme. Prish because she appears to be the poster child for the entire game. I mean, there's a reason Prish was the one they added to Dissidia, right? Many volumes have been penned in Adolin's history, 8-1. One strange story written far, far in the future goes like this. A nation once ruled by a council of 12 was united once more under the hand of a benevolent queen. And that would lead an indelible mark in history. Change did not come all at once, but each passing year turned the more prosperous than the last. The queen's sword shone brightly in the daytime sky, and she strode through the castle and canopy with a golden tiger and a tiny leafkin by her side. 8H square. I'm actually curious what's with the weird text issues there. Meanwhile, back to the Mana Fortress. Or sorry, Mana Forest. We've got to have our to be continued for a story that never existed. I'm getting super copyright for this. Now this is interesting. 14 supposes no. Easy answer. That poor tiger. I'm not super worried, Sactaft. We've got plenty to go. Oh, and that's like a vision of the future. It's neat. When the Mana Tree has fully regrown. I actually think I agree with you, Mr. Red. Yeah, no, some of you may have heard me say thank you to Game Geek recently for helping me to combine a bunch of spreadsheets. All of those spreadsheets were the dealer's choices. There's actually one very, very, very last cutscene, which is the last one we're going to do here. And then we're going to move back to Rhapsodies. And then I'll talk about Rhapsodies. Don't worry, it's going to be short, which is sort of the problem. It'd be nice if they finally got rid of the day awaits, but we'll see. A pleasure as always. You've come at the perfect time. Countless others have given you their thanks, and yet I have yet to do the same. You've done me a great service not only by protecting the princess, but more importantly, bringing days of peace to our troubled city. You have my deepest gratitude. Well, I'll be. Look, we came to visit the castle. Who are you again? Ah, sweet mercy, that vile clown erased so much of my memory when he plowed his way into my skull. All my embarrassing failures, times of doubt, everything else that would hamper my self-image, poof. So that's why I am now the perfect model of humility and authority. A figure that all could aspire to be. So hopefully one day you'll be just as spectacular as I am. Oops, I just said your name, didn't I? Ah, you're so fun to joke around with. How can I ever forget the face of the one who rescued me from certain death? I'm doing a little pushing and prodding behind the scenes to procure something as a token of my gratitude. I asked the 12 orders to come up with something, and what do you know, they pulled through. Of course, far be it from me to know which would suit you best, so pick your favorite. I don't want any of these, so, you know. But I'm going with Shednick, apparently. Try Shendik. Shendik. Resist petrify, resist bind, resist gravity. Move speed 18%. Well, that's interesting. And done. We are now done with Adeline. I've actually already tallied this up off camera a little bit, but... Give me 1 sec. I want to share something super quick. I don't know why you don't know that, Magister. Why would you not know that? Why don't you know that, Magister? Ah, that's fair, Magister. So yes, as you might imagine, both WoW and FF14 are full runs. We do all content that is possible, feasible, and reasonable. It's a big list. Raids are clear Prime Opt territory. There's no reason we would skip them. So, before we move forward, how long do you think was Adeline? To put it in perspective, Vanilla was 34 hours. Wings was 33, without doing all the content. Zillart was 6, Promathia was 18, Treasures was 13. Which puts Adeline at... dramatic pause... 22. And actually a pretty good example of why I mentioned that it's how long it feels, which is more important than how long it is. I had no idea Adeline was longer than Treasures and Promathia, and yet feels substantially shorter than both. But how about the score? Well, let's run through this really quick. Vanilla got a net negative 16. Zillart had +2. Promathia had +17. Treasures had +16. Wings had +33. Adeline, net, had +40. Not as much of a buff up from Wings, but here's the thing, and this is important. Wings was over 50% longer than Adeline. So Adeline overall had a higher story score, despite being substantially shorter. Yeah, much higher density. And I think that speaks for itself. I honestly think Adeline has kind of peaked in terms of story. From what I've already seen of Rhapsodies, I am not impressed. Speaking of, some of you have wondered if I'm going to show off the cutscenes that we did off camera for Rhapsodies. The answer is no, because they are vacuous and boring. Point in fact, a single plot beat happens before the stuff I've already shown off on camera. And that is, there's a woman who ends up coming to shore near Norg, who is desperate and afraid, and oh god, she nearly drowned. We've got to rescue her. And she says, oh, I've got to find Lore Runner. I'm from the future. And everyone's like, what? And then we find out that she is from the future. It's like, oh my crap. Holy crap. I had no idea. And then we talk about the fact that she's from the future for a minute. She conveys that the entirety of everything is consumed by endless darkness in the future, and then everything else you've seen on camera. That's it. Here's the thing. We're several hours into Rhapsodies, and so far it's been incredibly boring. So I'm already going to give a negative for story, because nothing of any worth or note has happened other than, hey, remember this guy? He's from the game that you like. And you notice the entire Rhapsody story has been that so far. In fact, it bounced from Zillart to Promathia to Vanilla to Otter Gone. Remember? I think one per expansion, Drax, yeah. So, what's up, Tenzin? I must ask you to infiltrate the palace. Forgive me for speaking out of turn, but our adventure companion must be completely lost without a clear explanation. Of course. I met with a particular someone upon setting foot in Ottergon. A staunch ally known as Gesho. Remember him? Member. He shrouds himself in a tarnished black outfit. A ridiculous costume, the likes of which I've never seen. One cannot help but admire his commitment to the cause, playing dress-up in a bid to fully maintain his cover. Sir Tenzin, that's no costume. It's also wholly irrelevant to this discussion. Right, yes, let me get back on track here. Gesho strove to find out all he could about this ambassador. He received credible information about a man matching his description visiting an imperial alchemist in the palace. Whispers abound that he's after something called Gastad's astral candescence. Thankfully, Gesho was able to foil his plot before it bore fruit. I scarce need point out he will not turn away and saunter. So I need you to infiltrate the palace. Okay. I have, like, personal invite from the Empress. I can just walk in. Those are the words I was hoping to hear. I will doubtlessly provide you with opportunity to make our cause known. I wish you good fortune. So, there's another negative I want to give Rhapsodies, and I've been debating it, and I think it already deserves it. And if it keeps being an issue, it will blossom into multiple negatives. Sorry, I actually did miss that post. No, I apologize. Am I wanting to play Patchwork Mall? I mean, it's FF14. I'd rather play FF14 than this. Oh my god, it's 80s! So, yes. Although, honestly, I'm much more in the mood for playing Midnight right now. So here's the negative. Rhapsodies is weird. It's kind of designed to be... It is actually designed to be done alongside existing content. Right? All of the pre-existing patches and expansions and all that fun stuff. The problem there is that the story wants to both be a follow-through of the events of those expansions and still fit alongside those as if those events are still current. I've already noticed several times where it acts as though we haven't actually finished the expansion in question. Now, if they committed to one or the other of these two things, I wouldn't mind as much. But it's the fact that they're trying to pull on both and failing at both. That's the important part. The failing part that I think deserves a negative. And I realize I'm coming down hard on Rhapsodies, but honestly, it's really not been impressing me. Okay. I mean, yeah, pretty much Pillar System. This is actually a perfectly good example. This next quest changes what I need to do, depending on if I have done Treasures of Ottergon yet or not. I knew it, Giga. You were leading me astray. As all Gigas do. I mean, no, you're right. A lot of people, when we were going through the WoW run, were like, oh my god, I can't believe WoW is crushing so hard. Modern WoW is a freak. It's a unicorn game. It by all accounts, should not exist. Ironically, in pretty much the exact same way that both Diablo 3 and StarCraft 2 are unicorn games. Most games that have received 6, 8, or 20 years of support get worse, not better. I recognize you, but I'll be damned if I let you enter the palace without an invitation. You know an awful lot about this masked man and his gang. There's no cause for that here. I can personally vouch for the man's character. Hello, Empress. So you're not with that chilling fellow? Actually, yeah. No, exactly, Dakota. Like, most games that last that long would have been choked into oblivion by now. Honestly, FF11 kind of is a good example of this. FF11, as a reminder, is older than WoW, but has not received the necessary support and resources to continue developing and improving over time. Instead, it is a miracle FF11 is still functional, but FF11 is not WoW, right? Again, I'm not trying to talk down every other MMO. I'm just trying to emphasize how much of an insane thing it is that WoW exists at all. Anyways. Several days after he stormed the palace, a woman with the same patterned mask slipped in, too. Combined with all the other reports we've received, it makes a total of 7 or 8 of his followers. So you can provide us with information we so desperately desire. Come inside that we may speak more plainly. Yes, Your Majesty. The world is to be shrouded in darkness. How could such a thing come to pass? So the future is black as night, and several individuals traverse time to appear before us. I find this all too difficult to believe. So first we gotta figure out if we can do anything. Isn't it obvious? This Iroha came back specifically because Lordwinter has the power to set things right. This ambassador wants to ensure the future remains exactly as it is in Iroha's time. They've already stormed in once. It'd be folly to assume they won't do so again. They opened up a void to the Netherrealm, but it seems to be their preferred method of transport. So if we believe you, the only logical explanation is they're controlling energy taken from that terrible future. This is bad. This is really bad, Mr. Red. I'm not confident we'll be able to stop them. But you being here does my heart well. Yeah, by the way, if you're noticing, what we've been doing quite literally, is we have this orb that was given to us by Iroha right at the beginning. And as we talk to the people who we have connection with from across the expansions, we absorb a portion of their light into the orb. That's literally been the plot so far. These are beautiful memories of the adventures we shared. To think of all the wonderful times we have spent together. Of course I will help anyone I can. The masked man is certainly heading for the Hall of Binding in Walahar Temple. That's where you should go too. I already like this ring. Like, the run ring. It's a shame I get this now and not, 3 weeks ago. Oh yeah, someone asked, was that Walker? Are you still there, Walker? Walker's not there. No! About 180 hours of prep work, all told. Not all of that was productive, but that's about how long the prep work was for this run. Yep, so this is actually not the cutscene we want, which is why I'm not reading it out loud. This has to do with going after Odin. WoW only came close to unprofitability once. And even then, it was still making money, just not as much. But of course, you know how executives are. A game being profitable is hardly a reason to keep it going. The game you're looking at right now is profitable. The game you saw earlier is profitable, ESO. That doesn't matter. They still nuked ESO in the face and are probably going to shut it down. Or worse. The temple's under siege. Too late. What happened? Masked man. A masked man! Several girls went to quell it, but we haven't heard word in several hours. I don't remember, Blades of All. Give me a minute to think about that. Oh no, it's the Mithra. So I guess that's not us from the future? That light, it can't be. We lack power. Preparations have not been made in this age. Then I must take matters into my own hands. With this mask. Just in time. It is, Magister. I can speak about that professionally, in addition to just all the evidence we have for the matter. Tell us where the ambassador is, and you might see the next sunrise. How do you have Phoenix's life force? That power is not for you to wield. Give me that. Correct, Magister, they don't. That has no reckoning on whether or not they will. Lord Lorewinter, it is done. Phoenix has returned to us, yet my blade is an insufficient vessel to harness all of its energy. I suspect the rest has returned to the Mother Crystal. Perhaps it's the wrong time, but just who are... Introductions can wait. Wounded first. Let us help as well. Do not think you escaped from me, and she's gone. We can trust Kagero to hound her to the ends of Vana'diel. It falls to us to make these men hale and hearty. Lorewinter, my citizens must come first. Let's meet up later. I shall head for the Sharhat tea house once the situation has calmed down. What? So I guess they didn't forget about Balamor. Oh ho, so this is the Ambassador of the Void. Another interesting character to make dance on my stage. Ugh, we've already killed you once. Go away. God. Yeah, exactly, Blizzard Snow. I've actually thought about this before, and you've probably heard me wax nostalgic about back in the day when, you know, executives were just slimy and like, not good people, but they weren't literal rapists and destroyers of IPs and lives. And it's because a lot of older executives were primarily focused on making money. That's not what upper executives care about anymore. We're past that point. Anyways, we've discovered evidence pointing us towards the Alzadal undersea ruins. Let's do it. All the people are fine, thank the goddess. One of those injured in the confrontation took a mighty blow to the head, but we ran into a stroke of luck. He spoke with Lady Nashmira during his recovery. We're most fortunate that, for he overheard the masked man's next plan. You see, there's a legend passed down in Ottergon across generations being known as the Prime Avatar. Perhaps I need not spell it out, but I shall anyway. With Phoenix's power gone, he seeks something of comparable strength. So, in the jungle, you sparred with the Ambassador as he commanded the power of Siren, another Prime Avatar. If he turned an Avatar against us once, it's likely he will attempt to do so again. Recall how that masked woman in the hall mentioned needing to take matters into her own hands, presumably because something was missing. It gives me pause. What if the Ambassador, not content to see the future devoured, intends to bring his infernal gloom to the present as well? You want proof? I received reports of another vortex which recently opened up in the Middlelands. Weeds cut off at the top continue to grow and fester. They must be ripped out at the roots! And the ruins may be the key to doing just that. Lady Nashmira has asserted that the Prime Avatar has a strong connection with the ruins. She has doubtlessly arrived there already. It would do well to not keep her waiting. Okay. Does FL11 feel massive? No. Oops. And as usual, I don't mean that as an insult. If I could use a very strange parallel, have you probably haven't, actually, Mr. Red. Has anyone here played Ocarina of Time? It's a little-known indie game from back in the 90s. Very low-key, not very popular. There's a section of that called Hyrule Field, which is a gigantic open field, which certainly looked impressive at the time and was actually a technical marvel to get working. But ultimately feels pretty empty, probably because it is. Hang on, is there a fight coming up? Oh, it's not out yet. Right. Sorry, I'm speaking from the future. Looks like there is not a fight coming up. Oh, hey, check it out. I'm about to be able to summon 5 alter egos at once. Yeah, no, exactly. The point I'm trying to reach is that Hyrule Field looks vast, but isn't. Whether it feels vast enough or not is kind of debatable and up to the person, but even back in the day, I never felt like it felt particularly large. Now, that's not a dig. I'm not trying to bash Hyrule Field or Ocarina. I'm just pointing out that it's a bad example of a big open field, which is what FF11 reminds me of. FF11 reminds me of a big open field. Nyzul Isle. Nyzul Isle. That's why I hesitate to call it massive, because to me, and we've talked about this recently, when something is that empty, it feels small, not large. When I'm traipsing across a zone, it takes me 5 minutes to cross on a mount. That feels small, not big, because the whole time is auto-running and with very little to do. Actually, yeah, Ross. The Great Sea in Wind Waker is a much better example of what I'm talking about. So there's Alexander. Hi! Hey! Thank goodness you've arrived. This building and those that scattered the land are historic ruins to the Alsdal dynasty. Yeah, I know that. Thank you. Only under the most special circumstances, those not from our lands permitted entry. I know. I helped you beat that thing behind you. If I might be so bold. What is the gargantuan contraption behind you? We refer to it as the Colossus, a grand device manufactured by the Empire that houses the Prime Avatar. To think that such a monstrosity. It's a being that rules over the forces of light, known as Alexander. Oh? How is... No. No. I mean, I know the excuse. What the hell? That's Alexander? I'm sure they're explaining this away for Tenzin in lore, but like, that still means the line is there for the player, which we don't need to hear, right? Phoenix, thy voice always grated on mine ears. Perhaps thou wert even more cacophonous than usual. Perhaps now because there are 2 of 3. Ah, so one carrying thy blessing has alighted on this land from the future. I understand thy predicament. If thou dost deem her to be of great import, I shall honor thy request to give her form in this world once more. I mean, I wouldn't mind an Alexander plushie. Hi, Iroha. Again. Please stop dying. It's getting tiresome to constantly res you. Lady Iroha. Master, Sir Tenzin. Are you alive? Are you okay? Lady Iroha, your journey to the realm of the living has surely taken its toll. Permit me to explain in your stead. None understand better than I. Phoenix has become whole in the future, as life force has brought Iroha back to us. Yet this is not the first time, the gods strike me if it's the last. She is stuck in the cycle of life, returning to Vana'diel each time she is struck down. Would that I were not endlessly reliant on my family to rescue me after each mishap. My blade once held powers of a similar magnitude, so I too am all too familiar with the particulars. Yet just as flame can cauterize a grievous wound, so too are Phoenix's blazing wings accompanied by indelible pain, am I wrong? There's no need to put on a brave front, though your body may have recovered, your spirit needs time to heal. There's naught else for me to do. That girl's presence in this world is forbidden. Sorry, small Alexander. Girl's presence. Wait, that's not small, that's a Ferengi. That girl's presence in this world is forbidden. Okay, I'm never doing that again. And that is why death doth clamor to claim her at every opportunity. Why is she forbidden? Doubtless because she has not yet been born. Order must be obeyed, and all would threaten it shall be expunged. Even Phoenix can only protect her for so long. Its breath draws ever fainter, its energy is beginning to wane. I have done what I can, but whether she is long for this world is not something for me to decide. I care not for the hardships I must overcome. Master must bring light to my future, and my calling is to guide him on the path. Thou wilt stop at naught to banish the emptiness. Yet the emptiness bringeth forth absolute darkness. It is not the absence of light I shall face when Ragnarok cometh. The spirits of old have surely felt the presence of such an abomination since time immemorial. Ooh. It surpasses the power of the gods themselves, and shall descend upon Vana'diel here long. Okay. Its underlings have already arrived in our time. Lord Alexander, they aimed to engage in a ritual with the astral candescents and use it to steal your power. Oh, yes, I recall the candescents. Whoa. But thou art slightly mistaken. They were not after my light, but rather Odin's darkness. Of course, it's only via my form they'd be able to summon Odin. But that would call forth another Ragnarok. Oh, I would relish a test of wills. No, fear not, youngling. These scattered as chaff before the wind. What concerneth me now is whether they'll attempt to clip Phoenix's wings again, or whether they'll search for darkness elsewhere. Hold. My primary concern is not with the vanquishing the ambassador, but rather ensuring the master is prepared for the time of reckoning. That's why he needs to fill the orb with memories. Here's that same coughing sound effect we've used like 5 times. Ira. You need rest. Well, I do declare. Dost thou wish for a way to save her? Well, 'twould be but a small hope. But the only being that would convince Vana'diel to accept her in this time will be one born of Altana's tears. You ever heard of a Kate Sith before? This little cat, right? He's got some ears, weirdly long tail, and way better animated than an FF-14, which is kind of strange when I think about it. Anyways, bye! Bye! My health should be the least of your concerns. Leave me to my fate. Continue your journey. She'll be in safe hands back at the palace. She is correct. We shall return to Ottergon in the meantime. Lord Lorerunner, let us go forth and conquer this pathetic world. Well, I do declare, Wealthmara, this is quite a sight, don't you think? I mean, if y'all want to stay here, that's up to you. I ain't here to judge. Okay, lol, Mr. Rudd. Not at first, admittedly. It drifted in very unintentionally. But by the end there, yeah, I was going for that full tilt. I like the idea that Alexander in its full form is like, yep. Nope. And then you shrink it down and it's like, well, this is giving me the vapors. Don't worry about Iraha. She's just resting. Some of our more medicinally inclined alchemists have been watching over her day and night. At least they managed to remove the ethereal poisons that were plaguing her. I'll make sure to bring you to her as soon as she's made more of a recovery. Oh, that reminds me. Tenzin's going back to Nord to tell his allies what's been going on. Something about knowing a way to meet Kate Sith that Alexander mentioned. It deals with a cavernous maw found in the Patilla Downs. I knew what he meant. You've got to know. You've got to know! Oh, well, once again, you have all the answers. Please keep yourself out of danger. As you wish, my Empress. Alright, so I have a random-ass question. How do I get the Apururu unity? How do I actually do it? Lady Neshmira, you have my gratitude. Iroha, are you sure it's safe to walk? I was just asking about you. I'll call him back right away. There is no need for that. Now that you and your companions are aware of Vanadil's opinion of me, my being here would only serve as a hindrance. Many are the soldiers who have fallen to protect the weak. I have awoken to my own failings, and thus will walk a different path. But you're mistaken. People are at their strongest when they're fighting to protect someone or something. Lady Neshmira, your kind words are a boon in these dark times. Please watch over the master in my stead. Okay. Iroha, where are you going? Master needs me to be able to stand on my own. so I can shelter him from the darkness. Okay, so I'm gonna be real. Iraha's fine, but I'd say only one of the expansion girls is worse than her so far. That'd be Lion, by the way. Yep. Mr. Red got there first. Lion was mostly just like a Pinello syndrome, right? Cardboard cutout. Trish is cool. Lilith is awesome. I rather liked Arciela. And I came around on Ashmal quite a bit. Hang on, did we get the thing? We did. So yeah, yeah, exactly. Lion was just kind of there. Can I do this in town? No. Okay. I mean, Zeed was kind of the real expansion girl. What's funny is, if you asked me who my favorite was so far, I would be pretty torn between Lilizet and Arciela, for pretty different reasons. They're both pretty similar archetypes to each other, but they do, oh, for Christ's sake, I'm just gonna Hearth, whatever. But they both do very different things based on each other, or versus each other, however you want to think of that. And yeah, the two most recent ones, go figure. I don't want to prejudge Iraha too much, but again, we've had several hours of her so far, and I am not impressed. Then again, to repeat myself, Ashmouth took a hot minute for me to care, so... Oh, I'm sorry. The wind literally just knocked over the trash can, and there's the trash guy picking up the trash. Oh, he's getting out to put it in. I'm sorry. I feel so bad when the wind knocks over the trash cans, because there's basically nothing I could do about that. Right? And I've said this a lot, I have a tremendous amount of respect for sanitation workers. We happen to live in a state that takes pretty good care of them. Which is funny, because that's like the last 3 states I've lived in has treated them pretty well, so that's good. But, you know, whatever. Where the hell is Batilla Downs? There we go. Thank you. Appreciate you. Batilla, Cam Thawed, no! There it is, Batilla Downs, go, go, go! Yeah, I probably need to literally go buy some bricks or something, because I don't have anything. The move cost us quite a few toys and other things that could be used for stuff like that. Because we went out of our way to not bring a lot with us. Oh, there we go. Either way, thank you very, very much, KM Thought, for the donation. Always appreciate. And if you give me a second, I will jot that down for Sonic Adventure DX, Sonic Adventure 2, and Voyager. Appreciate you. Okay, so, amusingly, I actually think so far this is the best gameplay we've had in the entire game. What? so it looks like you were right, Mr. Red. Yeah, we need to go do the Lilithets thing. Okay, well, time for a gameplay negative. Sweet! Oh, man, let me... In case you missed that, what it says is you're unable to make further progress in Rhapsodies due to an event occurring in the quest Champion of the Dawn. So I don't know where I'm at in Champion of the Dawn. Now, let me see if I can find out. No, of course I can't. So we're just going to go through it in order. How do I get to the Walk of Echoes? I actually don't remember. Okay, Grauberg it is. Oh, God. I'm so sick of that goddamn zone. It's just... No, I remember Mr. Red, and I remember thinking Mr. Red is probably right, but there's almost no reason not to at least roll the dice and hope that we don't have to do it. And mathematically, I was correct. Because either... And yeah, it's also good to test. Have you not... I cannot invite that person this time. You see? Add. Invite. God damn it, FF11. Do your job. So hey, who's ready for a nice big long walk across this zone for the 9th... No, wrong. 10th time now. This is the thing to get the Lilithset trust, by the way. Pretty sure. I don't care, I'll never use it, but... Oh my god! Alright, so... I would walk 5,000 miles. God damn it. I'm sorry, I'm just... God damn it. Yeah, you said this earlier too, Mr. Red. One of the things that makes this game feel empty is how much they make us backtrack through the same dungeons and overworld areas over and over and over. Very little makes an area feel small, like the backtracking. I can think of another example of this phenomenon. Hi, Morganite. Quest 64. Quest 64, this is actually brought up. In fact, it's in the highlight reel of Quest 64. Someone asked if Quest 64 gets a positive for being technically innovative in how sheer large, like how gargantuan the zones are in Quest 64. And it's true. Like, mechanically and technically speaking, the zones are huge, way bigger than what most games on the N64 can manage. But the reason why is because they are gigantically empty corridors with a single texture splattered on it. And so Quest 64 feels incredibly empty. I remember that the first time I played Quest 64, back in the day. Oh. So nobody answered me earlier. You were like, all right, so all you got to do is do some ROEs. Okay. But I've got 37,000 Unity accolades. So why don't I have a Pururu? I have to sign up for Pururu's Unity Accord. It also resets per week? Oh man, never mind. Screw that. Okay, so let me ask the pertinent question. I was going to get a Pururu, but if I got to do that every week, screw that noise. So here's the real question. What's a good 5th trust? Because I can do that now. I can summon another trust. I just gained access to that. What do I have? Give me a minute. I'll answer you. I can also check the daily login thing. I'm sure there's plenty there. There usually is. In fact, here, I'll pull it up while this is loading. Ow. I have no idea what I want. I guess damage would be nice. But enemies have started being real. There we go. So there's a bunch of ciphers available right now. Just at a glance, we've got Margaret, Naja, Luzif, Lu, Aruhat, Mayakov, Mildarian, Maximilian, S, Sybil, Kuyan, Nenjing, Ovjang, Domina, Leonine. And it looks like that's actually it. If any of those are really good, nice. I noticed none of those are Koromor. I'll check that in a second. Anyways, it's me! Can you hear me past the glacier? Please reconstruct me. Okay. Do I have Koromoro? Nope, I do not. So how do I get Koromoro? Haste would be nice, honestly. Okay, so now we go to Budishin Glacier, which is a campaign warp. You know what that means? That's right, teleporting out. Aren't you glad we made this whole walk just for Kate Sith to be like, go somewhere else to save me, please? By the way, we have to come back there after this. At the end of this question. I say we, I. You don't have to. I do have the King of Hearts. Oh, I know, not the sickest. I've talked about that a few times. In fact, as much as I enjoyed Adeline, Secrets of Adeline, and I did, it was a good expansion, it's really obvious that the team just stopped working on it at a certain point. Sure. Speak to a Records of Eminence NPC. What's a Record of Eminence NPC? It's been so long. I haven't touched the records since, like, we were setting up my character. Oh no, I'm with you on that, Poses Stone. It's annoying to do too many at once, but it's nice to do like a couple. Shink! You know, that whole thing. Okay. I don't know what these MOG coupons I'm getting are, and I kind of don't care. But out of curiosity, what are they? Ah. 117 gear. Yeah, I'm past that. Sounds useful. I mean, 12's a pretty good comfy game. For me, I should say. I've also got Prish 2, Najmira 2. Don't care about those. For a moment, let's go. I think I will slot this in before Shentoto. That's fair, Blitchville. Oh my god. Yeah, I did a lot of this when I was setting up my initial trusts. It took like an hour of just trading items to him over and over again. Getting the items and then trading them to him. Because there happened to be a login campaign when I was setting up the character. Oh god, Blade of All. What's the number where you get the bonus? And actually, while I'm at it, what's the bonus? $84. Probably Pillars of Snow. Same reason FF4 on the SNES would. Or FF1 on the NES did. You know, as weird as it sounds, as much as I dislike all this runaround, I'd rather at least be doing something than, you know, wait an in-game day. Maybe I'm the weirdo there, I don't know. I think you're right, Blizzard. They even mentioned there's heavy armor, medium armor, light armor, and nothing like conveys it in the menu. Okay. Just want to make sure I get the exact name here. This is Koru-Moru. Hypothetically, we should be good on that. I'll have to test that at some point. Now, what am I doing here? See, what I usually did in ignorance, but was just now, is that I have one person be medium, one person be heavy, and one person be light. Just obvious, right? Spread it out. But I didn't know what they did, so I didn't spread it out, shall we say, well. Okay, well, that was easy. I think it's actually faster to just sit here for a minute. What's up, Mr. Ed? What am I trying to do? Well, at the moment, I'm going to go to East Ronfair, which is probably fastest to wait 40 seconds to hearth out, rather than try to walk up to the book to get out of here. Oh, I see what you're thinking, Mr. Ed. Yes, that'll be the fourth and final step of this particular quest. Although, there is actually going to be a fight. Perhaps amusingly. Let me go equip the cape really quick. It's going to be a couple minutes, but I actually absolutely appreciate it, Mr. Red. Because I gotta go East Ronfair, then I gotta go to Jug. Then I'll be going back to Grover. So what's Phalanx do, Legionel? Have you decided you want to conquer the mountain, Mr. Red? No judgment. As long as you know what you're getting into, go for it. I mean, that was sort of my reasoning, too. You'll notice I have reviewed FF1 NES, 2 NES, and 13. Oh, and I'm about to be done with 11. I think I'm good. Oh, nice, Blades of All. So, kind of like an Earth Shield thing. So let's see. I also cast Distract 2, Flurry 2, Haste 2, and Refresh 2. Nice. Also true. FF14 is mostly under my belt at this point. We will finish this week, Ross, easily. Honestly, we were making good time until I ran into this problem right here. where I have to go do a Wings quest to unlock a Rhapsodies quest. So what's refresh do? I'm guessing it's a mana thing. MP region. Yep, I figured. Okay, where are we going? H7. It's not that far. It's like right here. Oh, hey, listen to what music's playing, Mr. Red. There we go. Now, Jugner. This ring is already a great pick. Thank you for pointing it out, Blade 12. I really wish I could have had it earlier. That's right, Mr. Red. This is Ross's real-life accent. It is your fault. I don't know what Mr. Ross's voice sounds like. I need to bug him to be a voice actor for me when we get to the R track. I'm just letting you know, Ross, I'm going to poke you about that. I don't know what Kennex Cow's voice sounds like either. That's right, you did actually give me voice clips. I forgot about that. Still happening. I'm still going to make you voice act for me. Mwah. Let's do this. I'm sorry, Kennex Cow. I need several women specifically for the FF6 video. I need some here. I've actually got a list right here. I need someone to be shy. Think Fluttershy. I need someone to be extremely dark, Death Edgelord. I need someone to be Goku, except female, obviously. I need someone to be like this incredibly coldly detached evil corporate. I need someone with a Brooklyn accent, and I need someone to be a tsundere. Those are the specific roles I'll need for the FF6 video. And they're all women. I actually do need one guy for the FF6 video. Okay, so I'm going to... Yes. A specific kind of guy. So, if you know who Terra is from Kingdom Hearts, that's kind of what I want. But the thing is, I haven't decided what lines I'm going to give him yet. Because I'm of two minds on that. His dialogue is either going to be, hi. And like, that's it. Or, you know, hi, I'm Terra. Or, I'm going to have him talk about darkness. I haven't decided yet. Oh, I'm an idiot. I need to go this way. That doesn't look right. Just stare at the map for several seconds. Why does that look like that? Because I want to go this way. Kinda, yeah, Kennex Cow. Yeah, Marissa Torme's character in My Cousin Vinny. The more Brooklyn you got, the better. Alright, so now... Yes, I know where I'm going. And then I'm going to teleport to Mr. Red. I do appreciate you preventing me from having to run through that freaking zone for the 11th time now, by the way. So if you're wondering what the hell's going on, apparently it's relatively easy to essentially bug yourself into starting this quest. If you don't start this quest, you don't need to do it. You can just continue on with Rhapsodies. But if you're on this quest, it interrupts the quest chain I need to do. And that's where I'm at. I have bugged into being on a quest chain I did not deliberately start. Can you play Seymour? So, I don't know what kind of character our Seymour is going to be. I mean, yes is probably the answer, but I don't know. Okay, so I have the 3 breaths. Now I do this. You probably don't remember me saying this, Ross, or maybe you weren't here for it, I'm not sure, but I haven't written R. Seymour yet. As in, I know the rough outline for R10. Seymour doesn't exist in that story. He will. One of the hard mode requirements I've laid for myself is that all major characters have to be present. I just haven't thought about it. He has no existing role in the story, so one will have to be invented for him. Woo! One of those things is good news, Mr. Red. Alright, time for a boss fight. Really, that is actually what we're about to do. I said major characters, Ross. Brother is not a major character. To use an example, in 10... Oh, that's a good idea, Blizzard now. I like that. In 10-2, I will have to use the obvious, Yuna, Riku, and Pain. But past that, the only other major characters that really exist in 10-2 are Shuyin, and I can't think of her damn name, Twitface, the lady with the Lady Luck costume, Len, and honestly, I could argue I could stop right there. Now, if I was to include 3 more characters, it would be the 3 faction leaders, because they are pretty major characters. But that's it. Those are the only ones I have to include. Now, I may include as many as I want to, but those are the ones I have to include, right? That's the challenge. Thank you very much, Umbral Magnus. Always appreciate. Yeah, no, Seymour being an obstructive bureaucrat, he'd probably want to keep the sin sacrifices going. I feel like that would be his thing. Like, he would be sufficiently traditionalist enough, right? Kingdoms of Amalur, Epic Nikki R, and Saints Row 4. Thank you, Umbral Magnus, very much. And yeah, I'm going to obviously turn Penelo into a character. That's not hard. It's okay. If I could turn Rosa into a character, I think I could turn Penelo into one. Unforgettable storyline, true. Battle system blending action and strategy, debatable. Cutting-edge visuals, yep. Awe-inspiring cinematic sequences, yep. Next step of the evolution of gaming, nope. Lord Runner, I can finally communicate like before. You're the best. I forgot how I promised to be of use to you. Serve you well. But I can help you. No, not in the way you might hope. Our world has rules, too. Ways of doing things. Must abide properly. Rules which go beyond the world of man into the world of Evo. Remember, if you type !Evo into chat right now, you get a link to her game on Steam, which you should totally go wishlist, because wishlisting helps the internal promotion. Plug, plug, plug. Don't ask me why I don't make the rules, I just play by them. Or have you forgotten all you learned? Has your memories consumed? And let's wake them up with a spar. A contest of claws. Unless you'd rather not, pain isn't my forte. And when it comes to love and peace, I'm quite content, very happy indeed. I'll let you decide what is best. I'll return these to you. If you have need of me, just use them and I'll come bounding to your side. Curiosity may have killed the Kate, but indecision is what will finish you. If you decide to use them, they'll be gone forever, whether you triumph or fail, so you'll have to start from square one. Imagine what a pain it would be to slink around those paces again. Yeah, thanks, game. Actually, yeah, Takeda. Just straight up replacing Rex with Pinello works extremely well. I agree with that. Just turn Rex into a female. Done. Whose name is Pinello? Come on. There we go. We've got this, Mr. Red. You've got to be kidding me. Well, sucks to all of that. Well, at least we get to try out Koromoru. Let's see how this wakes out. Yeah, this is a wings boss. I'm not worried. And dead. Jesus Christ. Just murdered. Yeah, for those of you who missed it, my first Savage Blade just one-shot her, I guess. What more to expect from the Champion of the Dawn? I know all Kate Sith will lend you our strength, all our capabilities. There may be a limit to what I can do for you, but speak, say your piece. What is it you desire? I don't care about any of these things. Thank. I'm gonna pick for Lizette to... I can't do that. It's something well beyond my powers, physically and magically impossible. Besides, her departure was her own wish in the end. When I think how she was prepared to, no, I can't. But surely you don't require a thorough explanation, a total rundown. One of the goddess's wings is too clever for that. Yeah, exactly, Giga. Give me money! Give me money! I mean, yeah, Mad Overlord. I must make myself like a tear and dry up, disappear. Do you remember those words, my soliloquy? There's no sense in hiding the truth from you, so I'll let it all out. Come clean. What remains of me here is but a fragment. That's right, I'm a simple ghost, an apparition. I cannot tell whether I shall be permitted to stay or if I shall fade. Evanesce. But I shan't give up for so long as you have need of me. Now, if you're done kidding around, we've got work to do. Dude, the last one's awesome. I don't know what you're talking about, but just the spirit is willing, but the flesh is not. What a fur-raising proposition. Incredibly frightful. Blah, blah, blah. Can I continue the quest now? Please. Okay. I need a hearth, don't I? Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, I do too, then. I thought you were being sarcastic. Okay, now maybe we can get back to Rhapsodies. Jeez Louise. That's actually exactly what I was about to test, Mr. Red. Actually, it's faster to do this, isn't it? Is it? No, actually, I think this is faster. Hang on. Sorry, give me a sec. Give me a sec. I just realized I don't have much of a role for Jacked either in RFF10. I remember Savacom actually posited several ideas regarding him being ex-military, probably ex-baron specifically. Alright, can I do the quest? You are unable to make further progress due to a forbidden reunion. So, if you wonder why I just went silent for like 30 seconds, I would like anybody in chat to guess where I'm about to go. I'll give you a hint. It's literally where I just was. The exact location I just was at. Literally, the quest objective was to leave and then re-enter. I didn't know that because I thought I would be able to skip having to do this quest at all, but apparently I frickin' can't. So. Mystic Maker asked a question earlier and I completely missed it. You still there, Mystic Maker? Give me something to think about while I'm doing this run for the 12th time now. 12th. 12 times I've had to make this run. At least this one's kind of my fault. Okay, what was your question, if you don't mind repeating? I completely missed it. I saw that you asked a question, I just missed it. Oh, hey, campaign music. I don't even know at this point what at all. Mystic Maker's like suffer. Oh, okay. If FF11 was an FF villain, who would it be? My first thought is Vayne, but I don't think that actually fits as well as I'd like to, so I'm going to skip over that. I mean, this is getting silly, Blade to Fall. Jokes aside, I have gone through this route 12 times. All mandatory. Or at least mandatory to get to the end game. A lot of these were mandatory because we had to go to these specific pools, but you know what I mean. You know, honestly, I think I'm actually going to go with Sephiroth. Hear me out for a second. Sephiroth is really cool on the story axis, and ultimately kind of vacuous on the gameplay axis. Even on a normal playthrough, by the time you hit Safer Sephiroth and Bizarro Sephiroth, they're not much of fights. And FF7 is actually known for having pretty good boss fights, whereas those fights are okay. You get that they were going for something. In fact, they were actually trying stuff. They were very experimental fights in ways that most players never even experience. But it's mostly interesting on the story axis, which is my overall point. I know you've returned. Come back to me. Things have gotten a bit hairy since you were last here. It's been like 5 minutes, dude. Helped you before. Now it's your turn to lend me your aid. Oh, if you're level 99, both of those fights are very interesting. You were always such a good friend. A friendly do-gooder. So pure of heart, in fact. I'm sure you hear her calling out. Close your eyes and open your ears. Altana, Ato, forbid Dark Kindred. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, Bizarro and Safer were actually experiments. For those who are not aware, both fights actually scale with your level. Two of the only fights in the entire game that do that. Furthermore, the Bizarro fight, depending on certain variables, you either fight them as 1, 2, or 3 parties. Savior Sephiroth, by contrast, is a much more traditional boss fight, but there's some interesting and reasonably well done design to it, too. A lot of counterattacks, a lot of reaction stuff. And he knows how to buff, debuff, dispel, heal, and of course, nuke you in the face. And some of his attacks specifically do more damage if you're higher level, like Supernova. Okay, so, boss time. I sure hope Mr. Red's here. Oh wait, he can't enter. Hi, Lilizette. What's up? Never thought to see you again in either world. See, I'm not the only one who's been doing some training, so what do you think? You've gotten cuter. What? Let's leave that aside. I've been doing all I can over here, not just for me, but for Lilith. Yet it's not enough. One of the Dark Kindred's generals eked out a strange power from beyond the void. We tried to go back in time and alter the course of history. His goal was one and the same. I never thought he could succeed, but underestimating the enemy only sowed the seeds of our own defeat. It's all my fault. It's thanks to Cait Sith we barely managed to seal him inside, but his power is real. Even worse, it's something I can't handle on my own. Please, help me kill this boss. Okay. The Future Fabulous, back in action. guess I shouldn't be so peppy with the future of the world on the line. No, by all means. Excellent, Mr. Red. Ooh. I actually think the Bizarro fight is a better designed fight than the Savior fight. Fight. Probably because there's more design to it. Again, Savior is a pretty traditional boss fight. Hi. Hang on. Give me a minute to buff. Arciella, Trihexia. Probably Umbrella Agnes. Remember, the executives at Square were willing to do the absolutely ridiculously unprecedented thing of rebooting FF14 pretty much because what else did they have to lose at that point? Like, that was the reasoning. In other words, if there was no FF14, and if FF11 was kind of having issues, and Square was, you know, imploding like they were, I could see Square deciding to go ahead and do an ARR on 11. Now, here's the funny thing. I don't know if it would have succeeded. Remember, FF11 was still tied to the PS2. In fact, one of the biggest reasons ARR was as bad as it was, I'm just going to say that, was because there was a mandate, a promise that was made by the developers to keep support for the PS3, I believe it was. Hey, Brown Jacker. I hope things have been as well for you as they can be. What I mean by that, though, is because they had that mandate to stay on the PS3, I guarantee you FF11 would have had the mandate to stay on the PS2. And that's gonna really hamper any effort to try and reboot FF11. Okay, nobody cares about this cutscene. Come on, let's go. And then Lillicet joined our party as a trust. The end. Nobody cares. Come on. Let's. Oh yeah, if we're a summoner, we can summon Atomos now. Well, we've now gained the power of the Devourer of Time. Should we have that power? I'm just... You know? The first time the door closed, I thought it was forever. But our heartfelt goodbyes and tear-jerking soliloquy seem a bit false now, don't they? It's neat for what it is. And, you know, a negative to gameplay, but... Okay. Now... Oh, gosh. So we've got Arciella and Lillicet are my two favorite in-game daughters. And I'm not sure if I could pick between the two. They're both really good characters. Yes, all of this happened before the stuff we just did. Okay. Hypothetically, I should be able to warp out now. I'm just kind of being absolutely sure here. Let's do this again. Yeah, I've picked up FF11, negative to gameplay. Oh, which one would fight for the spot? I'm pretty sure all of them would. I'm not sure which one would win. I mean, Prish would win. But all of them would be like, oh, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. Every single one of them. Technically, yes, Magister. It's... Yeah. Alright. Aphra was like, he's my father. And Arciel's like, oh yeah, he's my father. Except they'd all use a different word. He's my mercenary. He's my adventurer. He's my pioneer. He's a member of the future fabulous, etc. Okay, this is it. This is it. This is it. Oh my god. Thank you, Evo. So meanwhile, in the present, so we did those two cutscenes, then we did an entire expansion, and now this happens. Lore Runner, you have come. Alexander's cry has reached my ears. I trust you remember Atomos consumes all futures forbidden. I'm sure the one question must be pulling your mind is, why is Atomos not feasting on your dark future as we speak? I, too, have pondered that very question, and I will not play cat and mouse with you. That future is not a forbidden one. There's nothing I can do, what with Atomos so intricately connected to the laws of the world, so important to the way Vana'diel plays out. Oh, that's not why you're here. Yeah, I need Iroha to be accepted. What a perplexing conundrum. I'm quite lucky to have been protected by the goddess, but you, a great pair of white wings, have wrapped you in its embrace, though I'm hard-pressed to say why. I haven't got a whiff of an idea. But those without such a boon cannot traverse the boundaries of time. Why would you think there would be a means to save her? You should count your blessings that Phoenix felt the need to save her at all. Most would have been left by the wayside. Why the dour look? Don't tell me you're going to come mewling some trite complaint. Nothing you can do. Of course you're upset, it's understandable, but don't mistake my honesty for callousness. Your story has shook me to my bones, sent a chill up my spine. I'm still letting it sink in, a force so mighty it can charm even Siren, the very mistress of seduction. I'm positively at the end of my rope, my wit's end. But there's another option, surely I don't need to tell you who Altana is. Yeah. Never once have I been able to set eyes on her, but you... A day may come when you will see her in person. Become the most intimate of acquaintances. Oh my god, that's it. The expansion girl for this isn't Iroha. It's Altana! Wait, I have an idea. A flash of inspiration. Altana may be able to provide Iroha the succor she seeks. And if she can set everything right, it makes my whiskers twitch. Her love is eternal and surpasses the very laws of the world. Ugh. Of course, this leaves us one small problem of how exactly to go about communing with her. Oh no! Altana's the Dami mommy of the expansion, because we've always had one, right? I know of a fabulous person who might have an answer. See if I can bring her to you, but it'll take time. Wait one day. No, I'm kidding. Right? I am kidding, right? Right. It is, in fact, vetoed, Brownjacker. Sorry. Because it's horror. It's the exact reason you just mentioned. It's actually been brought up before, which is why I know that answer off the top of my head. Okay. Hang on. Literally just do it again? Okay. Of course it does, but let's now. I like how the walkthrough says, be sure to bring your warp ring with you. After finishing the next mission, you'll be left with no fast way into town. Really? I've never encountered that in this game before. I know, the warp ring is relatively recent. It's just funny. Forerunner. First reunion was surprising enough, but a second? This isn't a happy one either, is it? What happened? Kate Sith was running around like a chicken with its head cut off. I couldn't pluck the answers off her. All I know is it's got to be related to those dreams I've been having. You've seen them too, haven't you? See, I know when you're just saying nonsense.
Go to you too, cow.
I knew I couldn't have been the only one seeing visions. They shook me to the core! A blackness deeper than a stardust night enveloped the world. The screams of 1,000 souls pierced the air. I wanted to reach out to them, but instead of grasping their hands, I began to float upward, my form bound by light. I became one with the self-same light, and the last thing I saw was your face.
It's your evil.
I mean, I actually unironically
Can they
think...
see Vaporeon?
Yeah, but
and
not
the
really.
adorableness that she is?
Oh, she's so cute, yes. I unironically think that we are the main villain of this expansion.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's my current running theory. Because we've killed...
Did you kill God again?
Well, hang on. So we killed God, and then there was an alternate timeline where God got stronger, so we killed that God. Then we killed, like, someone who's not very well
So why
explained.
don't you use this light?
Something about it for long periods of time gives me a headache. I don't know what.
It's LED.
That might be it?
No,
No,
LED
No,
shouldn't.
that wouldn't be it, because that is literally LED.
Yeah.
And so is that, I think.
Do you have the fan running with it?
Yeah.
It might be creating a microstrobe.
That might be it, yeah. It's great for when I'm not streaming. It's just, I don't... Yeah, you get it.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Your visage was even more noble than usual, and you had become a god! Oh, no.
It's because we basically are one.
All right.
You're still an FF11, right?
Yep.
So you are a god.
Yep. No, we're a PC and an MMO. Thank you for the water.
Wasn't just for you.
This is true. Game? Hello? Game?
Hi, Evo. It wanted you to click again.
It did, but like my button stopped working. You had a different dream? Look.
Did I throw the thing away? Yes, I did.
Oh, this is bad.
Oh.
My controller just stopped responding.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe you wiggled it and it came unwiggled.
I mean, that's inevitable for this
and
old of hardware.
quartz.
Yep.
Do you have a spare micro U?
I have several, but this is going to be an escalating problem. You don't care. I have a backup plan, but they're out because of the current hardware shortages.
I was to say, do you have to? Don't they make like an off-brand that you could use for it?
Well, the off-brands suck, but yes. No, what I need is the Steam controller, the new one. But they're really finite in supply. Like, supposedly I'll get mine sometime in November. I ordered it a lot earlier than November. You know, I've got the... Okay.
Yeah, I know, and I just cleaned them with the thing.
Better? Okay. It's an ill omen if I ever heard one. Could truly such terror be what the world has in store for us? My dreams, all that light, was it just a fraud? I'm totally powerless? What kind of trickery is this? I need your help, Lilithset. You're right. Maybe we could come up with something if we put our heads together. I'm not sure how exactly to go about it, though. Kate said our best may lie in meeting with Altana. Even if we are the wings of the goddess, that doesn't mean we have all the answers. We might have to rack our brains for this one. Hang on, let me absorb your memories really quick. Every single one of them reacts rather badly when I do that. It's starting to make me suspicious. Imagine I walk up, hey! Not only did I see the future, but also the past. Memories of times we spent together, warm and cold. A phantasmagoric kaleidoscope of images. You're absolutely sure I'm not dead? For sure. Something awful's happened. Kate Sith, what's wrong? Laura, it's about that ambassador friend of yours, the person you've been looking for. He's found his way here. How terrible must this foe be if he's managed to make his way to this world? I need you to make haste. Move like the wind. That orb you carry, the light erased all my doubts and fears. I am ready for whatever may come to pass. Together we have the strength to conquer the darkness. Okay, hang on. Pretty sure we're on the mission Sacrifice. Let's double check. Sacrifice, okay, cool. Also, we just got Lilithset 2. I find it amusing that so many characters have two different ciphers or trusts or whatever. You took so long getting here, I figured out you'd gotten swallowed whole. I just walked from... Which, by the way, is what's about to happen anyway. Okay. I don't understand what... True, played develop. Oh hey, it's definitely not us. Actually, I think this is just the generic Elven version. The Atomos, it's multiplying and replicating itself. Because we already saw a Mithra version of this person, remember? Don't you think I'm oblivious as to what's going on here? That I'm utterly without a clue? Trying to wrest Atomos' power for your own nefarious ends. Cait Sith, look out! Yeah! Oh. The future is for us to decide, not you. Even if there's some things we would change, we still love this world. Yes, some crosses are difficult to bear and we lash out at things we find unjust. But our future is supposed to be bright and full of laughter, not racked with despair. Nothing can stop us from protecting all Vana'diel can be. Nothing! I shall change this world. But without the power of darkness, I cannot. Atomos, devour him! That looked weird. That looked weirder. Never fear. If anyone can come out unscathed from that thing, it's him. Foul creature, masked madman, I'll fight you tooth and claw! Okay. Hang on, let's get some dudes going. It's apparently named Cetus or Ketis. There it is. I like how we still have the campaign music while we fight this stupid thing. Hey, we have haste. Woo! So, based on my limited knowledge, haste, in my case, will increase my TP generation, right? Jesus, that was a chunk. Yeah, and I generate TP based on auto attacks, right? Or am I incredibly stupid? And it's dead. Okay, that was weird. Lorman, I can't believe it. He got away, fled for the hills. He absorbed Atomos' power and skedaddled out of her before either of us could stop him. After my impassioned speech, too, oh, I can be so scatterbrained. But I've made my bed, so I'm going to lie in it. This masked man, this ambassador of the void. I get the sense he's holding back. If he was able to bring Atomos to its knees, he could obliterate us with a snap of his fingers, but he didn't. Have you been declawed or something? Lost all your gumption? If Atomos weakened, your bright future is not but dust scattered before the wind. And we've no hope? Before he was completely drained, he gobbled it all up. I saw it with these 2 eyes. And you call yourself a savior of Vana'diel, a protector of the realm. Did you actually want to save the future or just take credit for it? Hey, Cait Sith, come off it. For someone complaining so loudly, your hands are quite warm from hiding them under your posterior. Seriously. I admit it stings to admit there's a kernel of truth to that. What do we do now? There's still the idea of meeting Altana, but how does one go about finding a goddess? Perhaps your friend Iroha can provide us with answers. After all, she's the one who bid you absorb light into your orb. If she thinks there's still some light left to gather, the future may not be as doom and gloom as Cait Sith thinks. Oomph. Think I'm full of bluster and bravado? Let me show you what I'm made of, demonstrate all I can do. You do that for us? My whiskers can tell your fortune better than any old bones. Right now, you need to go back to Norg. Okay, perfect. Best course of action is for us to split up. I've been charged with protecting Lilith's world, so I can't stay here for long. But, just like the door, I'll always be by your side. Here, have my second trust for some reason. From someone who came from the future, his form was quite solid, wholly unyielding. I have a feeling he and other masked companions exist in this timeline as well. And there's something else I saw for a brief moment, laid eyes on for a fleeting instant. My eyes never lie, but it can't be. Yeah, it's us. I get it. It's us. Thank you, Cait Sith, for not spitting it out. Okay, so now we go to Norg, which means we hearth. Which means we cut off for lunch. Which means sandwiches.